Today's session, as all you know, is a collaboration between Bangkok Post and Huawei Thailand, as well as ASEAN Foundation. Throughout the morning session, we honored the presence of His Excellency, the Deputy Prime Minister General Prawit Wongsuwan, as well as the Minister of the Digital Economy and Society for his keynote speeches. As for the attendance and the watching of today's event, we have the main hall exhibiting innovations and technologies, and also we are available virtually through YouTube and Facebook channels for both Huawei and Bangkok Post. Today's event is very safe. Every guest is asked to always put on mask, and all the working team has passed the COVID-19 test. Throughout this afternoon session, there are interesting issues and talks, especially the deployment of 5G and cloud system. Many speakers, you will all be aware of them because they are the main figures in the industry. So today's afternoon sessions, one of the topic is very interesting, which is to use the digital technology to increase the efficiency of the works and businesses to support low carbon emission. Today I would like everyone to enter the talk under the theme low carbon.
Good afternoon to everybody. I'm here, the first speaker for the afternoon session. Digital empowers smart sources, opening the low carbon era. I have to say that digital technology will be the technology that reduces travel, reduces consumption in many things if it is adopted by everybody. I have only 2 slides to show to you. So I only want to say that in Thailand, the standards and the laws that are there to accommodate business to make it paperless. But apart from paperless, you also need not travel. You can communicate, contact with government offices, do business from anywhere. And the principle is that your transaction will be secure, will be safe, and will be accommodated by the law, e-signature, e-meeting, digital ID, e-voting. These things are all adoptable by Thailand. So if you're going to go into these things, what will be of value? What will create clarity is the digital ID part, and the digital economy society is going to come out with a law on this so that all agencies, not only just government agencies, but just imagine if every agency adopts this. Thanks to COVID, without COVID, the adoption rate would be very low. And in the past, we were trying to find ways of having a law that would allow for e-meetings, because you have public companies that need to have their AGMs yearly. How can we do that as e-meetings? So with COVID, it's a good time that we have this law coming out on e-meeting. As for e-voting, we have a standard on that already, meaning that all the votings that you do, for example, in shareholder meetings, or I dream that in the short future, maybe in voting in elections, you can use the e-voting system. But all in all, you need to comply with the standards and with the regulations that are put in place already. So if those of you who are thinking of adopting these things, please know that the standards are there already. Let me show you e-licensing. 2 years ago, the Revenue Department consulted with the digital ministry, digital economy ministry, because they wanted to collect VAT and taxes from the online business. But if they were to collect that paper in a manual way, it would not be possible. So they were thinking about e-licensing. And 2 years ago, we discussed the e-tax invoice, meaning that the tax invoice is digital. We had a sandbox on it. We had companies come and use the sandbox, and I understand that last year millions of invoices were issued as e-tax invoices, meaning that these are receipts with the VAT invoice that can be integrated into one and sent to the Revenue Department. So imagine how much of a burden reduction this would be on the use of paper, on travel. As for e-document, I think myself just now, I was on a chat with somebody. I will have to travel to Dubai very soon to an expo, and I just found out that Thai citizens needed to have a visa to Dubai, but the application is online. You just fill in the information and they will give you the visa sent back as an attached file. You just print it out and it's usable. So that's an example of e-document, and it's standardized, and we have a law that accommodates this. So everybody, please take note. You will see that in the next room, there is an exhibition of many technologies. Well, if you are thinking, can we apply this in our organization? I'd like to say, yes, we have the laws that cater to that already. And another thing that I want to show you, but will not go into detail, I am not a technologist myself, but since the end of last year, Gartner talked about the technology trends, and almost everything involved digital technology. So what's the good point in this? Being people-centric, being location independent, these two features will help contribute to a low-carbon society, because when we cut down on travel, when we cut down on consumption of fuel, the ability to communicate or to work anywhere, anytime, the collection of data is possible real time, all the time. And the data, as I said, when you can collect it at any time, you might be thinking about IoT. I'd like to say that at every lamppost, there is a fiber optic cable that helps you to collect information about the weather, about the wind or the rain there. But you can collect even more than that. For example, the movement of Google, like Facebook or Google, when you go and visit the pages, they're collecting your information. And therefore, when we have the tools to gather this data, the image is one thing that is highly usable. I mean, the pictures, the images that come from the CCTVs, you might have installed the CCTVs for security reasons, but I would like to tell you that the images obtained therefrom can be used for many purposes to analyze and find solutions from those images. So, as I said, the information that we have, if we can compile it and use AI engineering on it, or sometimes we may think that we don't have enough data, but please know that information happens everywhere. So think about how to use it, and at the end of the day, the services will be faster and will be more in timely. And also, it can be used in many things, like in production, you'll be able to do production that is on target. You will not have leftovers, or you will not have too much in your stock, because you know, for example, if one item is removed from the shelf, you know immediately what you have to produce to replace that item. So you don't have a big inventory. And these things employ digital technology. As for the consumers and the entrepreneurs, digital technology at present, you don't have to invest and develop it from scratch. There are ready-made solutions. Like everybody in this room, I know that you are not IT companies. You are the public. You are a government office. You are an entrepreneur. You have the mission that you have to fulfill according to what has been laid out for you. And IT is only what you use as a tool in so doing. Therefore, the service provider on IT should be doing these things for you. You should be a user of digital technology or IT. There are services available that are called with the last name as a service, even the hardware. I reaffirm, you don't need to invest in these things. Why? You don't need to own the car, but you can travel from one place to another place. Likewise, if you want to use the service, as a service, go out and find it, like cloud as a service, platform as a service, software as a service. These are the solutions that are there for the private sector and the public sector, and it will help cut down on investment. Otherwise, you will be making idle investments. You're going to buy big, huge servers, and you're not going to use it to its full capacity and creating more carbon for the world. So you should be smart users, and this will help the world. Another thing that I would like you to think about is, when I was working in investment promotion, I wanted to promote digital investment. And 10 years ago, there's one data project center using the electricity to the equivalent of one petrochemical plant. And I was alarmed, thinking, we are a user of digital technology, but the investment to make for the data, it's consuming so much energy. So the digital devices take up a lot of electricity because not by itself, not per se, but because of the cooling, the air conditioning that is required. So if you don't have that scale, don't make that investment in new technology. As a consumer, I would like to invite everybody to do sourcing. You're going to buy devices, you're going to buy services, then ask them, the service providers, are they eco-friendly? Like you want to buy a refrigerator, you want number 5, electricity savings. So for digital equipment, IT equipment takes up a lot of electricity, not by itself, but maybe of the conditions that they need to be in, like they need to be in 20 degrees temperature. So if you want to cut down on your carbon footprint, then try sourcing the services that are eco-friendly. Right now, technology has gone a long way, and I know that a lot of energy usage has been reduced, and there are many good companies out there. Otherwise, it will be that the service providers and the digital businesses are consuming as much electricity as the conventional industries. So, one thing I would like to leave with you, low carbon era. This is the low carbon era. When you are using digital technology, also bear in mind that what you are doing is green and eco-friendly and cuts down on the use of energy. So I'd like to end here. Time is limited. Thank you very much.
ท่านปลัดกระทรวงดิจิทัล
Thank you, Miss Achalin Thanapanchai. She has dedicated her time to giving us the insights of how to use the tools and technologies to develop the industry. The references and examples she gave are only among the many technological developments that are going to improve the country. and also sustainably in the long term. Cut out on the actual on-site efforts, just go online and go digital. And also the thoughts she gave us all is that what we have to pay attention to apart from doing the businesses is that we have to think about the low carbon emission, which caters to the global trend. Next, the second topic is how we adopt technology in services. Let's look into the details of the services under the topic Everything as a Service, a New Journey Together by Mr. Chang Ping An, Chief Executive Officer of Cloud BU and President of Consumer Cloud Service of Huawei, to give a speech. Please welcome Mr. Chang.
Welcome to Huawei Cloud and Connect 2022 here in Thailand. It's a great honor to meet you online. Today, let's share our industry insights, latest thoughts, and new achievements. We hope to work with all sectors in Thailand as you embark on a new journey of digital transformation. First, let's look at industry trends. According to analysts, all Thai industries are incorporating digital into their businesses. Leading industries such as technology, finance, and healthcare are using digital technologies widely and deeply. Telecom, retail, media, energy, and other industries are also embracing digitalization. In another global survey, the most digitized companies will grow by 5 times faster in 2021 than those who lag behind, and this gap will widen even more in the future. As we can see, digitalization has become the stepping stones to leapfrogging development. We believe that the future key to digital success is to think cloud native, act cloud native. What does that mean? Enterprises should fully embrace digitalization. We must rethink our business with a cloud-native mindset and technologies, and become cloud-native enterprises. That is, all digital, all cloud, and AI-driven for everything as a service. Everything as a service is a goal of Huawei Cloud. How to deliver it? We aim at infrastructure as a service, technology as a service, and expertise as a service. Let's talk about infrastructure first. We've developed 61 available zones, 27 regions, and over 2,500 CDN nodes in more than 170 countries. In addition, our Spark RTC real-time communication network delivers a world-class audio and video experience with a phone night reliability in under 200 milliseconds. So enterprises now don't need to build your own data center infrastructure anymore. Just get infrastructure service from Huawei Cloud website. Coming to technology innovation, our aim is to provide you with technology as a service. We keep turning all the technologies we have developed in tens of millions of dollars a year so that enterprises can access them from Huawei Cloud without the need to reinvent the wheel. Currently, we provide tech customers with AI, data analytics, and security cloud services. We also bring you the Microverse APAC. What is Microverse? It is an expertise cloud platform coming from joint innovation and digital transformation that we have built together with various industry partners. Our expertise is packaged into API services for immediate access by developers so that you can focus on value creation. Currently, Microverse has opened up 5 digital engines, in payment, search, browsing, map, and ads, and provides HMS Call and App Gallery Connect for mobile developers. It includes 128 kits and more than 20,000 APIs to empower scenario-specific innovation in 9 industries, including retail, interactive media, news, automobile, travel, and healthcare. Our goal at Huawei Cloud is everything as a service. We are glad to see more and more tech enterprises making strides in business growth and customer experience by using Huawei Cloud. SCB is Thailand's second largest bank and has been a benchmark for digital transformation in the Thai banking sector. Based on high performance and high security Huawei Cloud, SCB quickly launched a digital loan service and built a mixed and match digital banking system. The system is able to support more than 10 million users and is going to launch more services in the future. On the other hand, Huawei Cloud is helping more enterprises capture the potential for digital growth. CPF is Thailand's leading agro and food group with operations in 17 countries. For better global services, CPF builds a hybrid modernized architecture with Huawei Cloud to seamlessly integrate legacy applications and replaced the locally deployed Kubernetes with Huawei's containers. The system migration and service release were completed in 6 weeks, and the system access latency was under 10 milliseconds. For scenario-specific innovation, Nestia is a good case. Nestia operates a local lifestyle app in Singapore. By using the location and map capabilities of HMS Call, Nestia launched services such as umbrella sharing. The positioning accuracy and the navigation accuracy are twice higher than before. In addition, after joining Huawei App Gallery, the number of installed users has reached 1.6 million, and the number of daily active users has reached 200,000. Huawei Cloud's growth in Thailand closely follows Thailand's own digital development. In 2018, Huawei Cloud was launched in the country and became the first public cloud platform in the region. From 2019 to 2020, we supported Thailand in implementing the strategy towards Asia's digital hub through a number of ways. This year, Huawei has been recognized in Thailand by both government and the market. We received the Prime Minister Award as Digital International Cooperation of the Year and rose to number 3 in IS market share. Today, we also have a major announcement for Huawei Cloud Thailand. First, as the only cloud vendor to have dual availability zones in Thailand, Huawei Cloud will launch the 3rd availability zone here next month. The 3 AZs will collaborate to provide Thai enterprises with data center level disaster recovery, 12/9 data consistency, and 100% service continuity. We will also be launching new products. Let's take a closer look at some of them. Distributed UCS can bring cloud native to every service scenario. With no more restriction in location, cloud or traffic, enterprises can use consistent cloud native applications everywhere. Pangu models can help to train higher precision models on a small number of samples. This shortens the cycle of AI model development from months to days and transforms AI development from workshops to an industrial scale. This new service will be available as planned. The key to capturing the opportunities is to take action. Let's work together, think cloud native, and act cloud native on our new digitalization journey. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chang Ping-an, CEO of Cloud BU and President of Consumer Cloud Service of Huawei นะคะ มาให้ข้อมูลนะคะที่เป็นประโยชน์ในเรื่องของการทำโมเดลธุรกิจในการไปปรับ
for giving us insights to business operators in developing new business models in the future. In the future, we will be hearing a lot of this word, which is services. Next topic, we will be leading you all to the deployment of 5G and cloud in driving industry 4.0 of Thailand. After we have been through the pandemic under the topic of 5G and cloud to empower Thailand industry 4.0 in post-pandemic era, I would like to invite Mr. Supan Mongkol Suthi on stage. Good afternoon, all. As we have been listening to many speakers, you will all know now that 5G technology changes a lot of things. Every time it changes things, of course, the industries have to change accordingly. All the services, the products, how we work, the moving from PC to internet to iPhones, everything changes accordingly. As for myself, excuse me for a bit. We have a technological issue here. The slides are not ready, but I will keep talking now. Well, nowadays we are aware that technology has great impact on our lives. Today we are still not familiar with cloud technologies, AR, VR technologies, then you are lagging behind. People who know how to use technology and how to drive their businesses to be better, you advance massively. COVID-19 has shown us how we have to adapt in how we work. For example, how we host virtual meetings. Of course, technology has given us closer connection to others in a way. You have seen several technological changes lately, for example, Facebook Meta. So you can see now everything nowadays is dependent on 5G technology. Without 5G, industry will not be able to advance smoothly. So I would say 5G will definitely be beneficial to many industries. As for the industrial industry, we have set up the FTI academies, the Federation of Thai Industry Academy. We try to educate and train people, train our talents with necessary skills. Our resources need not go to schools or institutions or whatever. We don't need any extra tools. We just need accessible technology. We partner with educational institutions, academias, universities. We can open up upskill, reskill training sessions because we have e-learning system. Everyone can learn from anywhere all the time because we have supporting platform to be able to access the training. So you can see now technology helps a great deal with learning new things. you will see how kids nowadays are very independent. They want to know something, they can go online to look for it, to search for it. They need not listen to us no longer. So you can see how technology has impacted and create changes. Now coming back to the industry needs to adjust to changes quickly. Of course, 5G plays a great role in this change. Everything revolves around 5G technologies. If you want to survive and thrive in the industry. As I say, everything is changing fast. One day, the mobile phones are very important to us. Maybe in the near future, it will be disrupted. It will be replaced. We never know. So we have to be on our feet all the time to cater to changes. Another important thing is data. Every industry needs data. Many industries invest a lot in data, in e-commerce data center to connect with government sectors, ministers, relevant agencies, so that they would get relevant data for them to analyze and adjust for that their business would get better. Nowadays, we partner with a lot of relevant agencies and ministers to work towards relevant goals, because for businesses to progress, we need technology to support us all the way. 20 years ago, if we talk about Huawei, we wouldn't be familiar with the brand, but nowadays everyone knows Huawei and everyone is thrilled by just the prospect of hearing this name. They have become a very prominent leader, so you can see now everything changes fast all the time, so we have to adjust accordingly. Now we have the industry to support agriculture, which is the core of the country. So we set up a special agency to promote and help farmers, agriculturists, to learn new things, to learn how to deploy technology. Nowadays, we are so proud of the career, the farming and the agriculture. We are the top exports of agricultural products. But nowadays, we cannot be proud just only from the fact that we own vast green spaces that cater to good farming. But it depends on how good technology you have to support the cause. So let's look at the country that is in the desert, but they can do a very good and brilliant farming. Despite the landscape, despite the environment, be it dry or terrain or whatever, they can grow plants, they can grow things because they use technology to help them. So this is what is important. Industrial and agricultural goes hand in hand, because the industrial sector wants as low capital as possible, but which contrasts to the farmers. Of course, farmers want to sell in the most expensive pricing as possible. So here is the conflicting burden between the two industries. So this is what we have been trying to fix. We are trying to gather the two contrasting industries to work together. We gather the same kind of agricultural products together and handle them accordingly and train them on the farming and agricultural technologies to help them produce more agricultural produce so that they could gain even better pricing, even more products, so that it will be a win-win situation for both the farmers, both producers, and also consumers. So here is how technology has been supporting the issue. Everything is to be supported by technology. There are a lot of cases and references for you to see how the technology has stepped in and fixed all the conflicts and issues and problems and challenges that many industries are facing. I myself strongly believe that in the near future, we have metaverse and that it will be integrated into many industries. Also the traceability. We have the GS1 Institute that acts and supervises pricing barcodes for all products in Thailand. Nowadays, 5G technology will help us to trace not only pricing, but can trace all origins of products, how it was produced, where it was produced. So this will be beneficial to both the consumers and producers to gauge how good the quality of the products to compare with other products. So it's still technology has created again a win-win situation for all parties. So we have to adjust and learn to adapt to the technology. We have seen a lot of dying technologies, obsolete technologies, and we also have industries that survive and thrive by the use of technology. I strongly believe in the readiness of the industrial sector to go hand in hand with all parties and all sectors to develop the country. We have many institutes that are set up to supervise, handle, and drive towards success. And we also have special units and agencies that are set up just to investigate and treat the low carbon emission, focusing. We also have platform that focuses on low carbon credits that we partner with relevant agencies that will come together to drive the industry to be able to trade carbon, which is also the current focus that the government is supporting. We are now learning very hard to drive this new issue towards success, and that will change the whole outlook of the industry, so that new things like carbon trading would be possible in the near future. I would like to thank Huawei Thailand for this very short time of giving a speech. If anyone is interested, you can all contact the industries and the federations. We are welcome. Thank you.
Thank you to the Federation of Thai Industries by Kun Supan Mongkol Suthi, the chairman, sharing with us the use of 5G and cloud as a key to success for industry, Thailand is the first country in this region to adopt 5G. So we are an early adopter. 5G will be a game changer in many industries. An example that the chair of the FTI has talked about just now is using 5G and cloud in the agricultural sector. It will help to improve agriculture, like drones will help to scatter fertilizer, increase yield, and all of this will help to uplift the agricultural sector from conventional agriculture to intelligent 4.0 agriculture. From the example provided by Kun Supan just now, we see that 5G in fact can be applied to many industries, but for innovation that will drive Thailand, the innovation how will it help to reduce the gaps and disparities in Thailand? I'd like to invite you to listen to Driving Innovation in Thailand, Dr. Panat Chairat, the Director of the National Innovation Agency, the NIA. Dr. Panat, please. Good afternoon. Actually, I prepared a speech in English, so I'd like to speak English so as to save time. And the topic assigned to me, driving innovation in Thailand.
Good afternoon, distinguished guests. First of all, I would like to thank Huawei Thailand for inviting me to share with you about how National Innovation Agencies, or NIA, plans to drive Thailand innovation in times of global crisis. Let me start with quotes of General Prayut Chan-o-cha, the Prime Minister, from the speech on chairmanship of APEC and Thailand's plans and priorities for APEC Thailand 2022 earlier this month. He said, looking ahead, APEC needs to be ever more connected in the longer term, harnessing digitalization and innovation to further facilitate cross-border movement within APEC to ensure a healthy flows of goods, services, business people, and the public at large. This reflects an importance of innovation as crucial tools for keeping Thailand as leading nation in global value chain of technological innovation and all aspects of transformations and disruption. Under the topic of driving innovation in Thailand, I would like to share my thoughts on first, the current crisis that are shaping the world as of now and how it has impact and innovation development in Thailand at the macro level. And second, these include directions of Thailand that should focus to stay competitive in this fast-changing environment. There are three waves of crisis that are particularly relevant to the future directions of innovation development in the world, let alone in Thailand. This includes pandemic crisis, economic crisis, and climate change. Firstly, the pandemic has redefined our way of life, created the new normal that transforms working style and how economic activity is being operated. Social distancing induces a trend on work from home that accelerates white-collar workers to activate their online work platform, while a lot of people could not migrate into a metaverse to be spaced. This creates economic distancing and emerging economic inequality. This also led us to the global supply chain disintegration and economic framework redefining. To become resilient, many economies are using and bargaining the limited medical vaccines and potential drugs to deter the adverse effects of the pandemic. Soon, it might be foreseeable that our society may transverse to the metaverse or having the current family structure forever change. Secondly, the second wave is drastic economic crisis in many regions, making the business as usual not usual anymore. We are seeing rapidly changing technological regime shift resulting from the workforce and supply chain disruption. This leads to many economies rushing to digitize and autonomize themselves to become Industry 4.0 ready. But firms may not be able to adjust fast enough to the change. As the transformations of industries and economy, more and more data are being generated, waiting to be utilized. This big data will be driving the economy forward, thanks to developments of artificial intelligence and machine learning, leading to data-driven economy. Lastly, we cannot forget the next generation that will carry the torch from us. They are voicing out their demand and requirements for the better future, which are often in conflict with the directions of the authorities. This may reflect the different perspective they have, which sometimes should not be ignored. The third wave refers to climate change and its irrevocable impact to the world and future resources. Our population is now at 7.9 billion and estimate will be 9 billion in 2050. At this rate, the climate change would become more and more serious as more population is consuming the scarce resources left from our generation. Water and flooding crises have become normal in some countries. Access to clean and clear air is becoming scarcer. Hence, we should drive the access to such resource to become a basic human right, allowing for more holistic and better management for such a resource. The climate change crisis also drives the development of alternative energy technologies, and more consumers are aware and demand that large firms use more sustainable manufacturing technologies. Globally, we also see the shift into BCG lifestyles at the government levels and international cooperation level. In terms of global competitiveness, let us take a look at the latest Global Innovation Index 2021, or GII, specifically to Thailand. The indicator reflects 4 areas of urgencies to innovation. First, innovator development. Second, financing innovation. Third, digital transformation. And last one, regulatory environment. Thailand has the first ranking in growth domestic expenditures on research and development, or in short, GERD, financed by business or private sector on par with the government. This means that private firms in Thailand is quite active to invest in research capability building. However, Thailand seems to lag behind in terms of R&D attractiveness from abroad, as the rankings of GERD financed by abroad is ranked at 83 out of 132 countries. Despite that, the private sectors in Thailand seem to do very well in terms of domestic finance and credit, with a high ranking in high-tech net export, but also high ranking in ICT services import. Thai domestic industry diversification is ranked 16, meaning that the industries as a whole is resilient to any change in the global trends and risks. And the Thai industry is well diversified or developed in various industry systems. The overall knowledge absorption is ranked at 18, signifying the high adoptions of technologies and talents into the day-to-day business of Thai enterprises. However, there are several areas that could have been improved. For example, the level of knowledge-intensive employment is ranked 98, signifying that the Thai enterprise do not hire enough manager, technicians, or professionals, implying that most jobs are only labor-intensive. Schools and educational institutes are also facing with the overcrowded effects of high pupil-to-teacher ratio in secondary education, where some schools might reach the ratios of more than 50/1. Thailand also needs to improve on our regulatory environment via regulatory guillotine, practical and effective sandboxes, or other means to ensure that we adapt fast enough to new technologies such as deep technologies to reduce our reliance on ICT services import and build our capability to export innovative products and services. The following section, I would like to elaborate more on 7 innovation system dilemmas and challenges in the context of Thailand innovation system. First, Thailand needs to develop firms' capability by grooming and building more innovation-based enterprise or IBE or more innovative organization to build their internal capabilities for them to be able to respond to unexpected change or disruption such as the emergence of epidemics, sudden breakthrough on technologies and innovation, or even paradigm shift of customer behaviors. Another challenge of Thailand is the human capabilities building aspect. A great innovation ecosystem could not operate well without capable human innovators. We need to build and foster the skills and knowledge that Thai innovators to become successful and to ensure that we continuously generate innovative solutions for countries. Something wrong. Okay. The third issue is the utilization of innovation infrastructures. It is our duty to offer sufficient and right innovation infrastructures for those needs, particularly as the system integrator. We need to ensure that innovator private sectors or other stakeholders are aware of such infrastructures and can access to the type of infrastructures that they require, especially at the time that they need. The fourth challenges is the innovation opportunities and regionalization. By this I mean the inter-regionalization cooperation between government, non-governmental agencies to share and exchange knowledge and opportunities among ourselves as forms of large-scale open innovation. This would address the sluggish global supply chain development during the post-COVID era and form new collaboration activities between the region. In fifth dimension, which is most importantly on the whole system that could not operate well without first unlocking the regulatory requirement that hinder the developments of innovation process. We should aim to create innovation-friendly regulatory system that is the innovation journey of all key stakeholders. Not to mention that in this category, the indicator from GII account for Thailand, we are ranking number 112 out of 132, which is very bad. Next, as equally important is the internationalization of innovation. We need to establish and create the international collaborations of innovation with leading innovation countries to be able to accelerate the developments of innovation in Thailand. The 20-year plan dictates the technology and sectoral development of our economy. We need to cherry picking the innovation areas that Thailand should focus on and build our collaboration on such as deep technology ecosystem that NAA is currently promoting. And thanks for the National Economic and Social Development Plan number 13. There are more than 200 innovation words on that plan, meaning that innovation is already in the heart of sectoral and regionalization development. Last is the challenges to build the immunity system of Thai economy by building transformative innovation system that address the global challenges to give the innovators and stakeholders in the Thai innovation ecosystem that resilience up to the new phase of challenge now and near futures. To conclude my thought, finally, we create the big push of innovation ecosystem. We need to aim high. Thailand should reach the world top 30 GI by 2030, according to the visions of our Prime Minister. To achieve this ambitious goal, NAA has initiated the Innovation Thailand Alliance initiative to create the Alliance of Thai Innovators for global market by linking public agencies, private organizations, educational institutes, civil society come together to gain the visibilities of the innovation ecosystem and act as a bridge to the global investors, innovation seekers, or suppliers for the betterment of Thai innovation environment. Thank you both, the on-site and online participation and participant for your attention. Thank you very much. ขอบคุณครับ
ขอบคุณค่ะ ขอขอบคุณผู้
Thank you, the Executive Director of National Innovation Agency, the NIA, Dr. Pan At. The
ส่วนต่างๆนะคะในภูมิภาคเอเปกของเราแล้วก็ใช้
As Dr. Pan At has said, we have to use technology to
ใหญ่ผ่านมุมมองที่น่าสนใจที่
drive the country towards technological development. It will not only fix the problem of the pandemic cause problem. It will also help the country to go on to survive from the pandemic crisis. If anyone is lagging behind in terms of technology, we wouldn't be able to go forward easily. Luckily for Thailand, we have relevant agency to promote this kind of development. Another thing that everyone has been mentioning is the issue of climate change. We also see a lot of tech companies that focuses on reducing their carbon emission. So this is the main issue that everyone has to pay attention to as the entrepreneurs that care for the world. Just as Dr. Pan At has said that our goal within 2030, we have to be ranked top of the top country in terms of green energy and green development. Now we would look at the technology ecosystem, how it can drive digital transformation. Let's hear it in the technology ecosystem drives digital transformation from Mr. Supasak Krishnamara, the country managing partner of Deloitte Thailand, on stage for his speech. Thank you. Good afternoon.
That I have been given this opportunity to join this event, Powering Digital Thailand 2022, Huawei Cloud and Connect. For several years, Thailand has been challenged by the slowdown of economic growth. The Thai government has launched the Thailand 4.0 strategy as one of the engines to increase economic growth through transforming the country into a value-based and innovation-driven economy and escape from the middle income trap. Thailand has been hit hard by the COVID-19 pandemic, which not only forced people to follow new lifestyles, but also causes companies to consider making changes to their business model. And many of you have experienced life has been changing all around you, and this fast-paced change is accelerating every day. This implies that what we have today as competitive advantage may tomorrow become quickly obsolete. Companies must keep innovating in order to survive or risk being left behind, and that is why innovation is so crucial for all of us. I hope to convey to you how digital adoption has changed businesses in Thailand. Excuse me. Based on our annual Deloitte Thailand Digital Transformation Survey report, in which the blue line is the recent Pulse survey, which was conducted after the onset of COVID-19. We can see a substantial right-hand shift into the next stage of digital transformation plans in order to plan with the pace of digital disruption. In addition to innovation, digital technology implementation is also crucial for companies to operate and engage with their customers. As you can see in the right-hand chart, companies have implemented more digital technologies, especially in cloud. The longer the blue bar on the graph implies that the pandemic had catalyzed the implementation, also along with other advanced digital technologies. I will share with you our view on how Deloitte sees innovation and how we try to demystify it. Firstly, innovation is not invention. Innovation may involve invention, but it requires many other things as well, including a deep understanding of whether customer needs or desire that invention, how you can work with other partners to deliver it, and how it will pay for itself over time. In addition, knowing where to innovate is as important as how to innovate. For example, knowing where to drill for oil or mining lithium is more important than on the digging itself. Identifying the right innovation opportunities and being very clear about the nature of the innovation you intend to create before you begin the project is of paramount importance. Innovation seems to be a big word, even scare people, and often too much focus is put on product, on services that have to be breakthrough, or one that no one has ever seen before in the world. But what I want to highlight are these three simple characteristics of innovation. Firstly, impact. It can be simply to do things differently or to do different things. There is a spectrum of innovation depending on what you want to change the known, change the boundaries, or change the game entirely. Secondly, time. Innovation should not be a one-time project, rather a continuous project. That is why if we focus only on new products or services, it will be treated as a one-off project. And third, space. innovation should not be assigned to one or specific team or unit. Instead, it should be embedded as part of the organizational culture. Please be reminded that the ecosystem is clear. Don't try to do everything by yourself. We live in a big world. Reach out to partners and friends. Another point I would like to mention is innovation almost never fails due to a lack of creativity. It almost always fails because of lack of discipline. The most certain way to fail is to focus only on products. Successful innovators orchestrate many perspectives of innovation to their business. So I like to introduce our perspective on innovation, which we call the 10 types of innovation. The 10 types of innovation framework is simple and intuitive. This will make innovation a systematic approach. This can be used to diagnose and enrich innovation projects or to analyze existing competitive situation. By looking at the 3 color bands, you can see the left is internally focused and distant from the customer, and as we move to the right side, to the end user, similar from the back end to the front end systems. This is not a process timeline, no hierarchy amongst the types. Any combination of the types can be present in an innovation. There are some points I would like to mention on its application. Nowadays, the market is maturing and complex. Only one type of innovation is typically not enough, but needs more sophisticated innovation, which will help generate innovations that earn disproportionate returns that are more difficult for competitors to replicate. Hence, combining and integrating many types of innovation elegantly is the key. And cutting through this with multidisciplinary teams to bring in the necessary talent and knowledge. Of course, it will require time, effort, and executive support. It is not easy, but the return is maximized. That is why it requires discipline and commitment. Also, de-emphasize reliance on product and technology alone. These are the easiest capabilities a competitor to copy. However, imagination without action is illusion. The same thing goes for innovation. Technology will play a significant role in innovating, both enabling the platform and the innovation itself. Based on Deloitte's 12 years of research of technology trends, we have been tracking the development and categorize them into 6 main themes. The 2 highlighted trends at the top of the screen are cloud and distributed platforms, and data analytics and AI. Today, we see 3 core technologies that will help drive innovation. The first is cloud. Cloud provides collaboration. It enables different IT systems to communicate seamlessly amongst their network, whether within the company or with external parties. Surprisingly, nowadays, business relies so much on the security of the cloud platform, even more than their own internal system. The second is AI. AI contributes to intelligence. AI acts like a brain power in the system. It can run and automate process without human intervention. AI reshapes how innovation is organized, overcome human constraints in information processing, and exerts a transformative impact on digital organization of innovation. AI can process a huge amount of data, big data, in a very short time, and then can be applied in many business scenarios that we have already experienced in everyday life. The last point is 5G. 5G gives speed, 5G is force multiplier to unlock the full potential of other emerging technologies, including AI, IoT, cloud, and edge computing. 5G promises dramatic performance improvement, such as faster speed, increased data capacity, lower latency, greater device density, and precise location sensing. The key technologies that will help us realize and unleash all the potential and possibilities of innovation. This is a good example of the power of artificial intelligence from NOAA to transform our understanding of the environment. NOAA is the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration who shares knowledge, predicts change in climate, and conserves coastal and marine ecosystems. When looking at the Earth, AI is used to develop land surface temperature estimates. When we look up in the sky, AI can help detect solar features in real time. And when we dive down into the ocean, it can help observe marine ecosystem health. NOAA has collected acoustic data using underwater sound recorder and uses the application of AI, including machine learning, to accelerate the analysis of large volumes of data and train machines to summarize sound levels across recording locations to know which sounds are part of the usual chorus of particular marine ecosystem and which ones are anomalies. They detect these anomalies with this smart stethoscope and which can alert marine scientists that there may be a problem within the ecosystem. The example of NOAA emphasized to us that understanding and protecting the environment is the most critical, important actions of mankind. So, what are the rationale on costs and opportunities of climate, and why is it important and applicable to talk about this in our digital future? Deloitte has recently released a comprehensive report on how climate action can drive economic future. It highlights that dominant economic projections typically tend to assume that economies will grow according to a business as usual trend, completely unaffected by the damage caused by climate change. Against such a baseline, any action on climate change simply appears as a cost. The reality is, if we continue with business as usual now, it won't lead to business as usual in the future. If we do nothing, climate inaction could cost Southeast Asia economies, Thailand included, US $28 trillion by 2070. While strong climate conservation action can deliver up to US $12.5 trillion to Southeast Asia economy by 2070. Please, if you are interested to understand more about this, please scan the QR code or simply search for Deloitte Southeast Asia, Deloitte C Turning Point Report on your web browser. When looking at our country, startups are one of the crucial players fueling technology for climate sustainability. Deloitte Thailand had had an opportunity to be a corporate partner of a startup food tech incubator program. It has shown us how innovation can drive sustainability, such as plant-based proteins, which lower carbon footprint and reduces water consumption. Before ending our session, I would like to emphasize that there is a clear opportunity to lead the way and show how acting on climate change is not a narrative of cost, but one of extraordinary opportunities for economic growth, and that technology and innovation that will be powering Thailand to a digital future can help play the vital role on the climate issue. Thank you very much for allowing me this platform this afternoon. ขอบคุณมากครับ
ค่ะขอบคุณมากๆนะคะคุณสุภศักดิ์ กฤษณามระนะคะ
Thank you very much, Kun Supasak Visanamara, Country Manager for Deloitte Thailand. As I said, we are accelerating to Industry 4.0, but because of the crisis, there might have been a slowdown, but now we know how to handle it. We know that using the three core technologies, 5G, cloud, AI, together will help drive Thailand forward. Now we will have a look at the 5G and cloud technologies, how these can help accelerate Thailand towards the digital economy. The topic is how cloud and 5G accelerate the digital economy in Thailand. I invite Assistant Professor Dr. Nattamon Nimman Pacharin, the Digital Economy Promotion Agency Director, or DEPA, onto the stage, please.
To give you the good afternoon and thank you for your attention earlier. And thank you to Huawei to invited me to this section and present for the 5G and its applications. Usually my colleague prepared the PowerPoint for the Thai, but I got to use only one PowerPoint or two PowerPoint for this section. Let's say for all the audience, you will see this slide to show the Thai economic structures. I would like to say the Thai economic structure is getting very weak over the last 2 decades. And also for over the future, you will see this structure like a pyramid. The bottom of the pyramid is the agricultural sectors. And they are contribute to the GDP of Thailand approximately 10% of gross domestic products. And also the second level of the pyramid, you will see the small and medium-sized enterprises. And those small and medium-sized enterprises will be a lot of the numbers. Some of the people say 3 million of the enterprises. Some people say maybe more than 3 million of enterprises. Small and medium-sized enterprises in Thailand, they are contribute to the GDP only approximately 40%. And you will see at the top of the pyramid, there will be the strongest of the enterprise or economic structure of Thailand, but what we call the large enterprises. The large enterprise call a number approximately 13,000 enterprises in Thailand, but they are huge of contribution to the GDP of Thailand. What it is, why we call it the weak of the economic system or the structure of Thailand, because how to drive the economic growth in the future, especially for the 5G application or innovations, for the IoT, as the previous speaker say, for the AI, big data, and all the stuff. That we need to transform all the small and medium-sized enterprises that a huge number, more than 3 million, into a new ways. Of course, it's very tough for the government to doing that and to give that responsibility to the DEPAs or what we call digital economy promotion agencies. And what we think to dive in that, of course, one, we need to change to the outside citizens. From this slide, you will see approximately 67 guys in Thailand are working in that sectors. 67 million guys are working to drive the economy. Yes, we need to transform them. The first strategy is to drive them to adopt the technology based on their knowledge. A second of the strategy of the country, not only transform all the Thai citizens or the people who are living in Thailand. We're trying to make up the ecosystem in Thailand by being the startup, not only for Thai nationality, but for the whole startup in the region, matching the needed from the demand side from the agricultural sectors, small, medium-sized sectors, from all the real estate of Thailand. And the top of the pyramid is the large enterprises. With the startup and provide a solution to them. And the third, we cannot leave the societies. Of course, you will see the economic structure like that for the economic growth, but we cannot leave the quality of life of the Thai citizens and all the visitors here, and all including investors as well. to do drive the Thai citizen to get a new knowledge, to transform all the economic sectors, and to transform the Thai society into the new style. Of course, we need to face all the technology that disrupt on the economy and society. The previous speaker already mentioned that. How? We need to prepare the infrastructure of the country, not only for the technology development, and not only for the innovation, but the infrastructure need to develop for new opportunities. We need to accept that why we need to develop the infrastructure for new opportunity, because the deep technology, especially for the digital technology, are not belong to the Thai. The digital technology mostly we call the cloud innovation, AI, IoT, big data, and its application and stuff and etc. They are mostly from the Western country and the mainland China, like Huawei. This infrastructure that what the country prepared to get that or to reach that new opportunity is the EEC models. This is because, yes or no? The EEC, have you heard about that? Eastern Economic Corridor? No, it's not only EEC. But from my point of view, the opportunity and the infrastructure is to prepare across the country for get this new opportunity. But the EEC may be the place of the investor to invest some of the physical things. The opportunity of the infrastructure development, it will be your opportunity as well. For example, submarine cable. That will be lead Thailand to any opportunity to have the further development or the future development. Second is the data center development. Of course, we need to make competitiveness environment in terms of the data center development in Thailand. No, but we need to provide at the enabling factor to support the investor who would like to invest in the data center in Thailand. Because we know that those two infrastructure it leads to another applications, bring the solution to the country, and the bring solution to develop the Thai citizen, what I mentioned earlier. Over the last 4 to 5 years, we heard something that my ministry trying to invest and develop one of the infrastructure called the Internet Broadband across the country. Across the 74,000 villages across the country. That will mean most of the Thai citizens are access into the internet. That already passed on, but the next step is to develop the submarine cable to get the one belt, one road be active of the strategy. But this called the one belt, one road in terms of the mainland China say no. It may be the one belt, one road in the Thai contribute to the one belt, one road of that. After all, we're trying to give the opportunity for the investor, not from mainland China. I know the Huawei going to invest in the data center in Thailand, but also for many investors around the world who would like to invest in the data center in Thailand to bet with the Singapore. And that will come with the cloud innovations and services of them. That will be the second step of the overall strategy to provide the kind of thing and to build up the ecosystem in Thailand. Why are we doing that? Because we know all the infrastructure will bring up with the new solutions, even though some of the people say the metaverse, some of the people say with the digital currency and so on, but that cannot come without the weak of the infrastructure development of this country. Okay, on the other hand, not only for the infrastructure development, we give you an opportunity for the new business as well. The government gives a mandate to the department not only for the infrastructure development strategy, but they give us a mandate to build up a new marketplace. Have you heard about the smart city? If no, yes. Smart city is one of the government strategies, a national strategy, which had approved the strategy this morning with the budgeting bureaus. What I mentioned to the government and the budgeting bureau of the Thailand, why we need to drive the smart city? Because the smart city is the application and the new opportunity for the investor. If they come, the people will get rich in terms of the quality of life. The small and medium-sized enterprises, agricultural sectors, even though the large enterprise, we get rich in terms of growth, in terms of the business, in terms of the wealth management and stuff. What is the smart city in the meaning of the Thailand? The smart city is quality of life of the Thai citizen and real economic sectors. The criteria of the smart city is to develop all the provinces across the country, 77 provinces. No. If which area they got well off in terms of management team, if which area of the country they got very clear in terms of boundaries, they can send that kind of the proposal into the National Smart City Committee to be approved, the projects. But with that proposal, they need to formulate the first thing, a clear of the goals. I mean, the medium-term goals and the long-term goal, what you want to be for the smart city. The second, all the boundaries that send the proposal to the government, they need to develop their own infrastructure development. The infrastructure means the physical infrastructure and non-physical infrastructure plan. The non-physical infrastructure means the city data platforms and what they're trying to prepare for the next era of the digital economies. If they got a clear of the planning, of course, when the committee be approved, we got to supporting them both of the regulation and the budget. And the third, after they have a clear of the goal formulation and the infrastructure development plan, what is a very important thing and an opportunity to you as well. They will come to the strategy to drive the smart city in terms of the applications. Smart city being divided into 7 areas of my country. First is smart economies. What would like you to bring a new solution to help you get smarter in terms of those real sectors? Agriculture, small medium-sized enterprise, manufacturing, trade and services and stuff. What it is? If what would like to plan, if you would like to plan, we got to help you to achieve your goals. By one, the BOI tax incentives. It may be one of the privilege. Second thing, the sandbox, if it's possible. The sandbox for the new technology to help you to transform all those real sectors. For examples. Second of the smart city, you need to get the proposal prepared for the smart environment. And that required from the government for all the boundary or all the provinces to bring a new solution and a new technology to help yourself develop a smarter in terms of the environment, the air pollution, water treatment, the IoT, AI, big data, all included in that. And the third, the government said not only for the smart environment, but you need to prepare for the new smart energy. Have you heard about the EV car? Most of the provinces, most of the governor, most of the Thai citizens are talking about the smart energy, about the EV. No. But the smart energy, we're talking about energy efficiencies. How can you reduce your cost of the energies? By using the big data or the IoT technology or twins technology and other stuff to help your city of the Bali get rich in terms of the wealth of energies. And the fourth, the government set the area in terms of the smart livings. Of course, Huawei got a lot of the technology on the smart living, the face recognition, the data analytics and services. But the main weakness of the smart living to get that kind of the solution is how to access into the government data. The Smart City Committee knows of that, and they asked the part to solve the problem by breakthrough of all the other ministry and department to help the service provider to get into a breakthrough into the technology and implement the application in these countries. Not at all. Not only for the smart living, we also give the opportunity for the smart governance. Smart governance, it will be one of the government strategy, but for the smart city, how can the local government And also some of the boundary area and provinces get well in terms of the services. Services in terms of health, the Thai citizen access into the health service. Get the Thai people get access into the better service of the government departments or the local governments, for example. And the last thing of the smart city that we ask all the investors and give an opportunity to the country is the smart peoples. To make all of them be active based on the goal that what I mentioned, we ask you for help. Not only sell the product and the solution, but we ask you all here to help the Thai citizen to get better in terms of knowledge of the technology. In another word, may call the literacy, but I'm not called the literacy, but I get in terms of better of knowledge in terms of the technologies. Because the people in those areas or all across the country, when they know how to use the technology with his or her lifestyle, it will be easier for you to sell the products. This will be the strategy of the country to drive the smart city. And I give you some of the information today in this section. And I think this opportunity will bring you to help us in terms of the solution and help us in terms of the country development and get solve the problem not only for the disrupt of the technology, but get help the Thailand to dive into 5G application eras. Okay, time it run out in only second minute left. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you.
ขอบคุณมากๆเลยค่ะขอบคุณดร.ณัฐพล นิมมาน
Thank you, the President and CEO of Digital Economy Promotion Agency or DEPA Thailand for his insights in driving Thailand with digital technology and innovation towards digital economy. We have gone through 6 topics. Next up is a very interesting topic also in terms of developing department stores with technology under the topic of promote digital innovation and empower new retail transformation. I would like to invite Ms. Chadathip Chutakoon, the CEO of Siam Pivat Group, on stage for her speech. Good afternoon, delegates.
For giving me this opportunity to be a speaker here. But I was told that I can make presentation in Thai, so please allow me to proceed in Thai from now on. Thank you.
Today, I was assigned to speak especially on how to promote digital innovation and empower new retail transformation. I would like to say to all of you that since the morning sessions, you might have heard a lot of figures and theories and visions. I would like to now bring you to the field, the practical things, the actual visions that can be implemented into actions and how we adjust with post-pandemic era in terms of changing and adapting our business to the era. I would like to start with the introduction about Siam Pivat. We are the visionary icon because in everything we do, we adopt strategic innovations. We are the blue ocean strategy. We do things that people haven't done yet, we go to the extreme and we own a world-class project, deploying top innovations into management and executions supported by innovation. And our mission is to make Thailand known and loved by global members. we focuses on first the sustainability. We have to grow hands in hand with all our partners. The second thing is that we always co-create. We cannot succeed alone because we are a huge department store that takes care of 10,000s of entrepreneurs, from SMEs to gigantic brands, be it fitness, schools, theaters. We have a very complete ecosystem going on in our department stores. So our success remains in listening to our retailers and entrepreneurs and then lead them accordingly. And eventually, we do our businesses based on shared value. As I say, we cannot succeed alone. So as a platform and department store, we have to prioritize our entrepreneurs, our tenants, to make them success also in terms of productions. We only have 4 projects and initiatives. Every initiative we are committed to excellence. The first initiative is Siam Paragon Department Store. Some of you might have heard that in 2015 we have created and boosted the reputation of Thailand. We ranked top. We ranked top in terms of the world's mentioning, more than Eiffel Towers and other attractions. Siam Paragon and Siam Center is long-lasting, has gone through 7 renovations and has been also been rewarded with the Viva Award honorary in terms of design and development. As well, Siam Discovery has also been rewarded with the Best Store Design of the Year. We are the winner in 2017 after renovating. And the last initiative, a project of ours, is Icon Siam. We have been open for 3 years, but we have been impacted half of the years by COVID-19, but we still survive and thrive. And we also create good news for the country, because last year we were considered best department stores in the world. And we also win the Outstanding Store Design of the Year in 2019. And we are also the Best Shopping Center of MAPIC Award. So you can see here that Icon Siam has won 13 world-class awards, and it's the sole project in Asia that has gained this many awards. We also have another business that emerged hands in hands with COVID-19 that has been opened after the lockdown has been lifted, which is Siam Premium Outlets, which is Thailand's first premium outlet, and we have won the New Build Global Retail Award. All of these are the initiatives operated by Siam Pivot Group. All of you might wonder about the impact that the retail business has been impacted by COVID-19 situation. I wouldn't want to show the great impact that we have faced because it would be too sad. Everyone in this business have been impacted greatly from the pandemic. Nonetheless, Siam Pivot Group ourselves, we are committed to take care of our entrepreneurs and tenants. So today I will tell all of you how Siam Pivot Group will go hand in hand with our partners and drive us all to the better change. So here I just would like to share a bit of the global trend, the insight report regarding the technology of the retail industry. The report has announced the findings quarterly, you will see that in the third quarter this year, you will see the retail tech, the fact that it deals funding with many initiatives and spent 27.98 funding. So you can see now that there has been an increase in terms of technology in retail industry. And there are certain deals that are unicorn levels. Thailand, as anyone have mentioned, we have 3 unicorn businesses here in Thailand, which also hits new highs since 2015 and has never decreased. And also the growth in M&A in retail tech, it increases. So you can see how merging and acquisition can help push the capacity of retail businesses. Is still regarded as an all-time solution during the trend. Especially during the lockdown, you can see that the F&B businesses, the delivery startup businesses has grown considerably. Interestingly is the loyalty program and redemption program, because it's undeniable that retail businesses is customer centric. So competing in market share, in winning over consumers are what all retail business operators invest in. So that leads to the significance of loyalty program platform. This is, the global focus. Coming closer to look at Asia trend, there are 423 deals regarding tech startup investment. And you can see now in this chart that Asia has the biggest growth. We dominate 41% of deal share. Coming back to look at Thailand, we have 9 million people who have become new digital consumers in our country. Interestingly, 67% of the 9 million people are not in Bangkok. They are all in countryside. So we are considered modern and very inclusive. Meanwhile, 98% of digital consumers say they will still continue using digital services despite the decrease of COVID-19 pandemic. So you can see here that digital technology has fully come into the picture of Thai lifestyle. And you can see that 34% of digital merchants in Thailand believe that without online, they would not have been surviving the pandemic. So the e-commerce businesses still thrive. And 20% of detail payment in store occurs in store. So it's not only online channels, even in-store happenings and processes also go digital and go online. Another 80% happens in online channel itself. And this chart indicates that the internet economy, now in Thailand we have soared to the billion. In the third quarter, we have grown to 30%. We can see the next forecast here based on the based on the situation that COVID-19 did not come back, we can grow to 57%. But if we want to consider the growth of e-commerce, we have to understand first that 70% of e-commerce products are not domestic products, but they are cross-border products. So after post-pandemic era has indicated behavioral change, behavioral trend change. So now are the trends. First is the growing of digital economy in Southeast Asia, as well as the investment that fuel digital disruption. And also people are finding it hard to go out of home for fear of the infections. So they are more familiar with online shopping from home. Also, I would like to point an interesting point that previously we have been engaged in price wars to win over consumers. But nowadays, consumers do not only care for pricing, but they also care for quality in products and also transparency in products. So this is a very significant shift in consumer behavior. Next up is what really happens. People pay attention more to ESG, which is environmental, social, good governance. Meaning when consumers want to purchase or buy products, they think beyond pricing. They think about quality, they think about how whether this product contribute to the world's environment, whether the owner or the brands have good governance, how transparent the brand is. So, the shift in new focus on the ESG. And lastly, people are still shopped more in home and lifestyle categories than fashion, because nowadays we didn't get a chance to dress up, so we only stay home. So that is another shift in terms of behavior. So that's a wrap-up picture for you to see and share. The first thing that we should do as a business operator is that we should rewrite, meaning whatever plan or whatever strategy we have or whatever goals the business has, nowadays we have to rewrite it. Because we have to shift our focus when we see the previous trend that I have shown all of you. We have to rewrite the plan for the organization, for your brand to be digital first. How can you reach the consumers at their doorsteps? The second thing we should do is to rewire your business model. Some of you might only have on-site stores or in-store purchases. You have to change. You have to increase the channels. How can you integrate? How can you develop? How can you add value into your business? The third thing you should do is to reimagine. Previously, we picture ourselves how we would engage customers, but nowadays, customer engagement has gone to the extreme to include winning over the customer's hearts. Because nowadays, to earn cash, to earn anything is very hard. But if you can win over the consumer's heart, you can turn the consumers into your friends, because friends have long and lasting and sustainable relationship. So with this in mind, we should re-strategize and how we look at our target audiences and consumers, how we communicate with them. We should communicate with them what they want to hear, not what we want to say to them. It's the basics of how we do business in this era. We have to engage consumers in many levels. Try to befriend them, not make them our consumers only. Next thing we should do is to refresh our products, to refresh our service offerings. How can we adjust our products? Because many of products are so obsolete, out of trend and cannot sell, while others just hit the board. So how to refresh our product's image? We can no longer say that our products are good. We have to tell the product stories. We have to tell where it was originated, the story, the craftsmanship, the quality, how the story of the product roots into sustainably develop the country as a whole. So that's the story that we have to bring into reshaping our products. Another thing we should do is re-envisioning the role of the organization. This is the most important thing to do as organization because sustainability is the key. It's the global agenda. It's not all about us. If we contribute to the world, our business will be able to, how can we express our love to the world? How can we help save the energy? For department stores like ours, we have been working continuously for over a decade in terms of reducing carbon emission. We can save and reduce 30% annually of carbon emission, and we can also engage consumers in helping us on this issue. Also, we cannot succeed alone. We have to include surrounding communities, especially the department store businesses. If we don't help the community, they will not survive, and we will not survive also. So this is what every organization should embed into their strategies. The last thing we should do is to realign with the new normal. Realigning, I have to say that, I wouldn't want to say new normal. It should be dubbed next normal, because I think there will be more and more normals to come. Changes are consistent. Our consumers change all the time. How can we cater to this? How can we realign our strategy and goals to cater to this change? We have to have the most resilient policies. So these are all the thoughts that I would like you all to think about. Next in line is I would like to introduce what I call Generation C. Actually, Generation C is not originated from any typical segmentations, but it is a generation that is derived from the mindset and interests and behavior of the consumers. So Generation C has no gender, has no age. When it goes across the board, it also includes aging people who are now enjoying social media using, right up to the new gens that. So Generation C, the first characteristic is that they demand for control. They want convenience, they want simplicity, and they want transparency. So this means that if we want to sell to these people, we have to cater to their demand for control. If we want to initiate our application has to be simple and easy to use. So this is the control that the Generation C demands. The second thing Generation C wants is that they want to constantly connect. They are ready to work together. They are ready to collaborate and co-create. They want to to be someone, to build up their own profiles. They want to always co-create with parties and with people. So you can see now how many brands are doing cross collaboration all the time. Even the high-end brands, for example, Balenciaga, ex Gucci. So here you can see the never before collaborative trending. So the keyword here is co-creation. Whatever parties you want to co-create, you have to think a lot about this. Another thing is community participation that has to match their interests and passions. When we want to approach our consumers, we can no longer say what we want to say. We have to say to them what they want to hear. So the word community here is very impactful and meaningful because it means that people who gather together and share the same interests. So how can we do, so what to do to match these groups, to talk to these certain groups? Another thing is conscience. The way that that you want to take advantage of consumers or just trick them into buying products will no longer work because consumers nowadays are very smart and intelligent. So this is very important. We have to be transparent or else the consumers will see right through us. Another thing is that this Generation C consumer value freedom and various choices and demand integrity, transparency, and openness in brands. And also they are wellness driven. They want healthy and long life. Another trend is that entertainment and leisure and education. Everyone wants a casual vibe in every aspect of their life because they have already suffered enough during the pandemic lockdown because they want to live life to the extreme. And the last characteristic is that Generation C consumers expect constant change and innovation. They always expect newness and also innovation-driven products and services. So Generation C here that I am talking about is global citizens. It includes everyone. There are no other segmentations, but it's the actual behaviors for this generation. So in our retail sector, how can we transform above and beyond? It might sound dramatic, but I think retail businesses are already dramatic because the competition is very intense, especially all retailers in Thailand. We are all efficient and good at what we do, but our role nowadays are not only retailers or sellers. We are not looking only to manage sales, but we have to manage emotions and impressions of the consumers to be able to make our platforms the destination that can deliver beyond experiences, groundbreaking experiences. It might sound tiresome, but it's not hard to execute. I have examples here. We actually have to create experiences from top to bottom. We have to create a story to make people interest in your brands. Again, I insist not to sell only product, to sell stories. Meanwhile, we have to take that stories to create experience on our own platforms and stores to be able to interact with consumers. One-way communication is so yesterday. You have to interact, meaning everyone has to be able to engage in our business, in how we operate. At the same time, for the ones who has a very good data management, you can do personalization to drive sales. By personalization, I mean we will only deliver messages to this customer regarding the products that this kind of customers or audiences like. Only what they like, what they are interested in. So personalization is also the key. And also we have to give them the chance to make their own statement. They have to directly communicate to us their own beliefs, their own interests. This goes way back to what I say to you, that we have to befriend the consumers. Also, we are not building a customer base, but we are building a community. To gather all people who share the same interests, to engage with us under their said interests. Personalize this kind of different interest and powered by the advanced technology. Taking digital platforms to empower the consumers to be able to enjoy our brands. I myself am the operator of department stores. I have heard a lot of saying, maybe insult sometimes, that department store won't be able to survive nowadays because online shopping is booming. I would like to respond to this by showing the comparable growth between online shopping. Whatever high number online shopping can create, it cannot compare to our own site sales after the lockdown has been lifted. Online and offline are parallel worlds, but in reality we cannot just stay with the screens. Especially Thai people, we are on our feet all the time. We are active, we want to go out all the time. Particularly this post-COVID situation that are quite safe with the vaccination inclusion. Nowadays people are bored of just staying home. We have gone through a lot of that throughout many months ago. So now humans have life. Meaning that successful department stores should do things like this. There is a saying that bricks and mortar never die. We have to create a story and statement for our place. Our story has to change all the time, like galleries that change their pictures and exhibitions all the time. Our place has to engage people. People have to enjoy our place, and also we have to build our loyalty program. We have to keep building fandoms. We have to keep winning over audiences' hearts. And our place has to be shared online, just like our application or social platform is. And it has to be just like seeds, like an incubator, and connects like a community. If we can do just like this, department stores or online or on-site stores can last a very long time in the future, because we work really hard to be like that. I would like to give you 4 pillars. How can we execute all of I have said into reality? We have to reinvent convenience. Every department store has to have digital experience. Everything has to be digitized, fast and convenient. Especially, it has to be simple. Maybe we have to have robots that guide consumers to go to certain departments that they want to shop. We are actually initiating that right now, like robots that can speak 7 languages. Next up is we have to do 2 ways communication, participation as new consumption. How can we make department stores exciting all the time, creating surprises to consumers all the time, and creating lifestyle experiences for people all the time. And of course, if we want as many tenants as possible, we have to have a place where a co-working space to attract more people in. And what I would like to focus on is data. You should pay attention to data so you can do so you can offer a personalized experience. Another thing is authenticity. Fake brands, brands that have no story. We have to pay attention to this kind of products and brands also. And we have to have social consciousness, also environmental awareness and health and wellness of the consumers. The business model, how can we make our business benefit to all stakeholders? We only have a few cycles. We have customers, we have tenants, we have business partners, and we have investors, and of course we have our own employees. First up is our customers. We have to know them more, understand them more. We have to drive loyalty. We have to focus on digital engagement. We have to befriend them. We have to talk with them what they want to hear. We have to create seamless audio experience and enhance in-store customer experience. At the same time, our tenants have to expand new channels. We have to expand new channels for our tenants. We have to help them do business. We have to find platforms that help promote the tenants' businesses. We have to help them create new business models to create value and added service for tenants. And we should aim for virtual mall experience in the metaverse. We still not know whether the metaverse of Facebook will be succeeded or not, but we have to aim for it. As well for partners, our business partners, we co-host events, they sponsor us. How can we create new ecosystem for these business partners? And also we have to seek for new M&A opportunities to strengthen capabilities, to improve talents and skills digitally and in technology also. And of course, investors. If anyone is the operator of malls and department stores, have you fully been monetized yet? We have to. You can see how it will be successful. This is the opportunity for investors here. Eventually, our employees, if we want to go fully digitized, our employees have to be good. How can we train them to be good? And eventually, this is what Siam Piwat actually do. So this is the real life of department stores. People come and see great pictures, impressive vibes, fun experiences, breaking Guinness World Records together. But you can see here that the great success here in real life, we cannot just minimize them down to only virtual world. So department stores are home to many lives. How can we promote the strength of department stores? How can we revamp the vibes? How can we always attract people to visit your department stores? How can we create beyond experiences for consumers? We have to be able to do it all because this is the reality. We have to survive and we have to make our tenants survive. So lastly, I would like everyone to embrace change. Don't be afraid of it. Thai people are very good and efficient. We can do everything, particularly retail sectors in Thailand. We are the best of the world and we will last. We will survive and thrive. Thank you.
นะคะประธานเจ้าหน้าที่บริหารกลุ่มบริษัทสยาม
Thank you คุณชดาทิพย์จูตระกูล from Siam Piwat. We have seen the use case of the retail business using technology and innovation in business through the various projects, and apart that Kun Chadatip also shared information about retail technology, which shows us that online platforms can help retailers and partners for department stores for sourcing, for decision to buy, and also payments. And also, it makes us reflect on how we should adapt our strategies for the post-pandemic period. And if we can do that, then the strategies will take our retail business above and beyond. In the future, will we see Siam Piwat in metaverse? We have to wait and see. Another topic which is also very important, especially during the past 1 or 2 years, facing COVID-19, one industry that has been greatly affected, and it has affected the industry, made it grow in leaps and bounds with the adaptation of innovation and technology. That is the medical industry. We have seen frontline workers work very hard to carry us through the pandemic, and we see developers and researchers using cloud AI and 5G in medical industry, and this has helped the work of doctors to become more efficient, not only for the part of the practitioners, but this also affects the patients, the Thai people who can more speedily access treatment. So today, we will take a look at the 3 core technology, 5G, cloud, and AI. How important are they in driving the medical industry, both at present and in the future? The topic is 5G, cloud, AI, empower hospital to era of digitalization. I'd like to call upon Professor Dr. Prasit Watanapa, the Dean of the Faculty of Medicine, Sirirat Payaban, Mahidol University, onto the stage, please. Thank you. So we are now going to shift to another topic, but it is something that is very close to us, and I reaffirm that our world has gone through a lot of changes, and there will be many more changes affecting our lives. I'd like to begin with the slide that I usually say up till today. After embarking on the 21st century, we are faced with 5 storms, and the cyclones or the storms will become more fierce. The first storm that we face is globalization. It is a storm that has hit us since the last century, and this time it's because of globalization that has spread COVID-19 globally. That's the downside. But the upside is globalization has made us know COVID-19 exchange knowledge and technology until at the end of the day we believe we will be able to control it in a short time. Today, we will be talking about digitalization, which is becoming one of the changes in healthcare, creating drastic changes. In the past, there were slight changes, but COVID-19 provided a catalyst for the increase of digitalization in healthcare. For the disintermediation, does this happen in healthcare? Yes, but not completely, because at the end of the day, for healthcare, you still need to go to hospitals, but the format of the healthcare venues will change. Certain things may be no longer necessary, certain things will disappear. And disruptive technology, there are 12 disruptive technologies according to McKinsey. I would like to take a look at it. There are 3 things that affect healthcare, that is AI, IoT, and cloud. These 3 things have created an impact on healthcare. In the past, when we are born, we didn't know whether we are susceptible to whatever diseases. But today, you can spend about 100,000 baht and you can have your genetic code analyzed with this new technology, which is available now at a cheaper price. And then you can apply that to big data to know that with this genetic code, what risks you have, what are the chances, how many percent of you getting this or that disease, and more importantly, you will be sensitive to what medicine and not sensitive to what medicine. So these are the things that are happening in healthcare. You'll be allergic to what medicine and not allergic to what medicine. What are the risk factors? What are the risks to illnesses? Chances that you will respond or not respond to treatment and medicine. So IoT also plays a role in healthcare. And the last one is about climate change. It looks like that the change is not so sudden, but it is something that does impact healthcare because of climate change. This is the reason why we have COVID-19, and this is the reason why we may have COVID-25 and COVID-30. The new decade has created many problems, so it's not surprising that we will have new ones coming on in the future. Now, when we talk about change that will involve digital technology, what is necessary is the highway of information. Right now in technology, accessing information for one person, genetic code and genetic changes, we need to have broad avenues for information. And we need to have linkages, and that is where 5G comes in at a juncture where there are changes in healthcare, because 5G has enabled many other things. For example, it has allowed us to make use of more equipment with less latency. It's got a shorter response time, and it can be linked to many applications. These are the 5 qualities of 5G that I say will help supplement what we want to happen and make it happen in reality. These 3 things are what I see coming on in the future. The objective of future healthcare systems, at least these 3 aims must be fulfilled. First one, in the future, the healthcare system should promote good health for people, meaning not the ones who are ill already, but the ones who are not ill will have better health. And secondly, for the quality of patient care and the speed in adapting to new diseases like new infections or already known infections but more complicated. And thirdly, that we should be ready to face pandemics, new viruses, because as long as there is climate change, global warming in this world, the vectors that will spread the viruses will continue to develop themselves. And let me be frank, sometimes nature develops itself faster than we think, and this is the reason why we have new viruses. I reaffirm these 3 points, which will bring us to what use will 5G and AI have for us in the future. Now, when we talk about healthcare systems, we're not talking about treating diseases, but we're talking about the 6 components of the system. The health promotion from down to up. And when we talk about a person having good health, we're not talking about that person after he is born, but we're talking about him in the womb. And so today, technology for healthcare begins with trying to search for disease even before that person is born. And many a times, technology is so advanced that treatment can be given when that person is yet unborn and still in the womb. And so these technologies are available today already, and using many things that I will tell you about later. So prevention. That's about prevention. We focus more on prevention than treatment, and in the COVID-19 era, we think about vaccines. Vaccines are something that show us how important it is. In the past, it took many years to develop vaccines, but with COVID-19, it took only 8 months from the beginning to the use of the vaccine. And today, there is tendency that in the future, there will be a disruption in vaccines. In the future, certain vaccines, certain platforms will disappear, and we will continue to have new vaccines which will be more which will help to treat more new strains. And then we have disease treatment in 2021. It's the first year that we had telesurgery, the Rainberg operation, the patient in France and the surgeon in America, and there was an operation to remove the internal organ that produced the bile in the patient. And so the telesurgery was done through an equipment where the doctor in the US made a movement of his hands, and that movement was replicated in the operation room in France. Now, so we have this in 2021. But yet again, there is latency. But technology allows us to do this almost real time with the movement of the surgeon in one place. Then the operation, the movement is replicated in the operation room in another place. And you know that for the treatment of cancers, when we have data, we know the genetic code of the people. There is no more trial and error at present. When you have a cancer, it's like you have a certain germ. If you want to know how you would respond to this certain medicine, in the past you would need to test that, but today we can do a genetic decoding and know what medicine can be used to treat this cancer. And then in the future, we will have something called a cancer vaccine that can be injected into the patient, and that would help to cure the cancer. For rehabilitation, by using technology in the future, rehab will be possible for muscles. Will be able to rehabilitate muscles that have weakened. Palliative care which will help the patient before reaching the end of life care. I show you this diagram to say that the arrows that are pointing in both directions in the past, whoever wants to promote healthcare, prevent disease, would need to see a doctor face to face, and the doctor would need to examine him in order to get what we call the symptoms and the biosignals. So we want to know the symptoms, the pulse. We want to know the biosignals, which can be obtained only with face-to-face meetings. And the advice or the recommendation would be given directly, case to case. You cannot write down something on a piece of paper and have the patient understand. That's in the past. But modern technology today, this is what we can do. At present, if you want these things, you have to leave your home, and then you have to go from your home to the hospital, clinic, for example, and that involves expenses. Just now, I talked about the 3 aims for future healthcare, which will be improved in the future. It will be more effective and efficient, and the cost will reduce. I forgot to say that just now, because you would not need to spend time traveling for many diseases that are not necessary to be at the clinic. And at the same time, you will get quality treatment. In the future, the patient or normal people who want to have good health promotion, wanting to see the doctor, to discuss with the doctor, give information to the doctor. But in the future, this will be what is happening in the very near future. One person at present can send his biosignals from his body, his pulse, or today at Sirirat we have tried this, what Dr. Churchai has tried for people who have diabetes and they have blood tests. And if you want to have a blood test, you need to go to the hospital and see the doctor. But today there's a biosensor. A biosensor is something that can measure your biosignals and send that directly through the cloud, or to send it to the doctor who is located in another place and can do that real time. So today, many of you in this room, if you look at your watches, most of your watches will be smart watches because it gives information about your biosignals. It gives you warnings, but in the future, it will not only give you warnings, but it will be able to send that information for process learning into AI and send information to your physician, and your physician will then be able to give back information to the patient or to either a person who wants to have good health within seconds or minutes. This will be available. Therefore, these are the things that are happening because right now we have the flow of information through a wide enough avenue. We have many storage places for information. We have cloud technology for information storage. We have the process to learn and to analyze and translate that information into deep learning by AI. And at the end of the day, the connectivity that takes place between the patient and the doctor can help solve the problem in the past that technology cannot replace high touch. So they always say in the past, high tech, low touch, but right now, no more. Right now, we have both high tech and high touch healthcare in the future. Today, one doctor can talk to a person and also share his empathy, because the picture that you see, there has been a report that up till today, one teletreatment that is clearly very efficient is telepsychiatry. That is meeting with your psychiatrist online, which is called telepsychiatry, and it creates a better results than on-site psychiatry because the patient does not have any stigma. Just think about it. If you have this disease and you go to the psychiatric department in a hospital, you will feel bad. But with telepsychiatry, you don't need to go to the hospital and you can see your doctor. So the technology that we have at Sirirat today is we're using AI to detect the voice of the patient and also his muscle movements, his facial movements. So that will give us the degree of depression. It will tell us how depressed this person is, and at the same time, the patient will not know that he is being assessed by AI. So we're using this technology and we are coordinating with the Ministry of Public Health in this. So within the near future, telepsychiatry can replace face-to-face psychiatry, because I believe that a certain number of people prefer telepsychiatry to on-site psychiatry. Now, for DNA in the future, many diseases, the treatment will need to use genetics information. And all in all, this is possible because right now we have these available equipments. We have IoT that has allowed us to store and to send this information in a speedy time, and even before meeting between the patient and the doctor, this information can be used for analysis, and we will use this technology to change the habits of the people. We begin with the people who are diabetic. Many of you will know that the diabetic people, sometimes they eat what they want to eat because they don't know that it will affect their illness. But by using certain devices, measuring your sugar level, you will get real-time measurement and you will know the effect of the food that you eat and the dish that you take, how many calories it is. You will be getting that information. So this information is available, and as soon as the patient engages in a certain behavior, then he will be informed. The patient will be informed of this information, as well as his doctor will be informed. And so when the appointment comes, the doctor can then discuss this with the patient, like on that day, you had this dish and this is why your sugar blood level went up, for example. So this will enable a better lifestyle for the patient, and this is one of 9 projects at Sirirat, which is employing the 5G technology along with AI for the diagnosis of certain diseases. This is my last slide. So the 3 aims that I have mentioned from the very beginning, that in the long run, the health of people should be better in the long run. Healthcare should be of better quality, more sensitive to change and become cheaper. And also we should be ready for the new pandemic. This is all possible because today we have these things ready, 5G, cloud, and AI and IoT. So this is what I would like to say to give you the changes in the healthcare system.
In the medicine industry, we in the near future, just as he has mentioned, it has not only been just the diagnosis of the symptoms, it has to be preemptive and preventive, since we haven't been born yet. So healthcare should be things that could go a long way in the future with the support of technology, as we have seen good case studies that he has shown, and we have to thank the forerunners and the doctors at the forefront who contribute greatly to the development. Now we are switching to the deployment of cloud technology in financial services. Under the theme of deepen cloud transformation and facilitate agile and innovative financial services by Mr. Ruangrod Poonpon, Group Chairman of Kasikorn Business Technology Group KBTG. Please give a round of applause for Mr. Ruangrod Poonpon.
Let me introduce you to the topic of deep and cloud transformation and to facilitate agile and innovative financial services to empower people's life and business. So a little bit about KBank and KBTG. KBank at a glance, we are number one digital banking in Thailand and number one SME bank and number one merchant acquirer and number one payment gateway and number one credit card total spending and number one private bank and number one asset under management under K asset. That's the K group. And K strategy, we have like strategic focus, which is like dominate digital payment and reimagine commercial and consumer lending. And number three is to democratize wealth and insurance. And number four is to penetrate regional market. And actually, like last week we just launched our branch in Vietnam to pursue our ambition of like regional digital bank. And in order to focus on the four strategic imperative of KBank, we have spun out KBTG. We are Kasikorn Business Technology Group, which is basically the tech arm of KBank. We now have 1,800 people in Thailand, not including our developer in China and in Vietnam right now. So in total, our group for Kasikorn Business Technology Group, we have around 2,500 people. So KBTG, it's not KPMG, people confuse that with KPMG, but we actually not. KBTG is actually we do technology research and innovation, we do technology development and infrastructure management, and also co-innovation partnership, as well as talent development for the whole Kasikorn Bank group. So the K strategy to revisit, our main purpose is to empower every customer life and business. And we need to develop a strong and trustworthy brand. And the growth strategy, we focus on the dominate digital payment, reimagine commercial and consumer lending, and democratize investment and insurance, and penetrate regional market. And that's why you can see financial service is one of the industry that basically being disrupted dramatically. In the past 5 years, I still remember, we talk about the bank will be unbundled by fintech startup, and then you enter the age of rebundling, where the bank is faster and more agile, and also develop a scalable innovation so that the bank work together with fintech to develop a vibrant fintech ecosystem. And so the implication of that strategy for the bank to move forward in the decentralized finance era, basically data, everyone know, and every single speaker said data is the new oil, So we need to transform into data-driven business. And actually for KBank, we have begun the journey of data-driven transformation since 2018. Actually we have begun since 2016, and now this is the 5th year, half a decade already that we have undergone the journey of data-driven transformation, so that data can be democratized, data can be easily accessed and analyzed for business decision, not only among data scientists or among just only machine learning scientists or whatever, but everyone at the bank can access the data and basically use that data and turn it into intelligence to empower customer life. And we need to use data to empower the launch and speed up the launch of product and service faster, and I'll show you later. Actually, in the past 2 years, is the decade in the midst of the decade of the crisis of the century. COVID is actually the crisis of the century, but we deliver a record innovation pace, during the past 2 years, because of the cloud and also the other stuff, So we need the data strategy to empower the launch of new product and services quickly, we were quick, but we were not quick enough. We need to be much faster and quicker, and we need to develop the innovation agility. And by doing that, we need the culture of experimentation, all the things, they can implement a lot of technology, that kind of stuff. But if you don't transform the culture, if you don't transform the people, and develop the culture of experimentation, we need to experiment, as fast as startup. Before I joined the bank, I was the venture capitalist, the pace of innovation that startup pursue is actually very, very fast. So that I always tell all the times that we need to transform the bank into a fintech. Since 2019 when I joined the bank has to innovate at the pace of the startup. We call it build, measure, learn cycle of the lean startup. And we can utilize AI and machine learning to enhance business product and operation as well. Not only to speed up the pace of innovation and experimentation, but we need to do culture of experimentation everywhere in the business, not only the product and services, but also the operation side of the business as well. But at the same time, we are the bank. We cannot compromise on the risk and governance. We need to proactively manage our risk and compliance to support business agility and growth. So we were a cloud. We deliver the cloud first strategy since 2019. So every single applications in 2019 that we developed. Right now we manage 500 applications, and many of which were the new applications. So the new application since 2019 has to be cloud first. And two, we basically pursue the hybrid multi-cloud, which is basically the utilization of both public clouds and on-premise private cloud. So basically, even though it look different and separate, public clouds and on-premise private cloud, but actually we need to utilize the technology so that we see it at the same cohesive and coherent resources, to improve our IT processes and modernize our IT architecture. So now we are in the second phase of the modernization of our infrastructure toward hybrid multi-cloud. So 2019, our cloud strategy, the type of cloud we have both traditional cloud, which is traditional data center, a legacy, and then we have a private cloud, and then we have a private cloud as well. And for the private cloud and public cloud to work together toward the hybrid multi-cloud, so that without going into details, we need to develop a use case and also the modernization of the infrastructure, so that we see it as a whole resources, and we can ship resource and utilize resources very quickly. So I'm talking about the speed, scale, and at the same time security, so we can deliver the technology infrastructure that can deliver innovation at speed and also at scale, and also without compromising security as well. So 2020 we realized that we need to accelerate the pace of innovation. We basically implement the innovation zone. We have a cloud for innovation together with what we call it innovation runway. So basically the innovation zone is a cloud for innovation, and then we can deliver new technology from and can experiment with technology at small scale. We can test, develop a prototype really fast, and then we can test with the small group of customers safely, and then we can scale it rapidly after we test and validate with the market, similar to startup, So then the use case is that we can do POC, not only internal innovation, but we work and co-innovate with partner really, really fast, and I will show you, basically we can do POC together with partner, and then we can launch and scale our innovation after it is validated with partner very rapidly. And we also use it for the R&D zone as well, for the research and development, because at KBDG we have the researchers, so they for example the Thai natural languages, we do we do a research and then commercialize and scale it as well. So then this is cloud enable us to be Thailand innovation powerhouse. This year alone, despite COVID, we deliver innovation of nearly 30 innovations. We deliver new mobile banking application, because for K-Bank, in order to survive, we know that we need to disrupt ourselves. K Plus, our mobile banking application, is #1 mobile banking in Thailand and in Asia Pacific. But we know that hey, we probably need to deliver an innovation that probably can disrupt ourselves as well. So we come up with Make by K-Bank, which is the new mobile banking application is a social banking, which has the concept of cloud pocket, so that for customer, they open only one account, and then they can manage their money easily, and also can do it a chat, that kind of stuff. We deliver Face API and Khun Thong, which is a chatbot that has a customer of nearly 1 million already. Tech Thai, which is like the tourism application that we did together with the with many partners. We deliver like CUNEX data wallet, KLogs, like Thai NLP, and we work with the SET Stock Exchange of Thailand to deliver the asset tokenization, the platform as well. And we work with many partners, to deliver the co-innovation products. For example, like Muang Thai, Ramanai Hospital, that kind of stuff, to deliver the innovation quickly and we can do that really fast, Actually, despite the crisis of the century, our pace of innovation is at record as well, so that cloud enable us to deliver the innovation at record pace. So and not only that, for example, we use cloud technology to experiment and test and then launch we call it ambient intelligence, which is actually which is actually contactless technology. So that the tech computer, can recognize the customer, and then they not only being recognized by AI, they can do transaction, financial transaction by just being there, that's why we call it ambient intelligence. It's much better customer experiences, and actually customer don't need to contact the services which might be infected with COVID-19, something like that. And we are doing something like real-time asset appraisal, I'm just taking a picture of the car, and then you can estimate the value of the car immediately, so that's what we call ambient intelligence to cloud enable technology. And asset tokenization, because we know that for a bank to survive in the future, we cannot just stay within traditional banking, or not, or only or even digital banking, that kind of stuff is already old, it's already old. We need to transform ourselves more like a fintech, and also step into fully into the world of the decentralized finance. So in 2020, we launched the asset tokenization together with Stock Exchange of Thailand to launch Thailand Digital Asset Platform. We basically spin off the company called Cubics, which is the digital token for everyone. We are the first bank in Thailand that received the ICO license, so cloud has enabled us to enter this area very easily, because it's easy setup, optimal cost, agility and scalability, and it has secure environment, so that we can do digital token for everyone. And not only that, last month we launched the Coral, which is the NFT platform. It's a super simple NFT marketplace enabled by cloud as well. And the other thing that we do is that we implement cloud in to deliver the AI factory. Using cloud, our AI factory, project has enabled our model development time. Basically, normally it takes some time for the for our data scientists to deliver an AI model to use for the bank use cases, But then by implementing cloud, we basically can be 4 times faster in 2021, and we hope we will be 12 times faster by 2024. So you can see that the pace of innovation, we were fast, but we were not fast enough. And then we'll be 4 times faster and 12 times faster by 2024 by using cloud and AI factory. So we work with Huawei, why we choose Huawei to work together with us, in many use cases, because Huawei have the local data center server in Thailand. They have data resiliency and local compliance, and they have competitive pricing amongst other public cloud. So beyond 2021, what are our key data roadmap? Number one is basically behavioral shift toward cloud, so then we'll put 1,000 analytics to the cloud, it's still and we need to reskill the whole organization to be able to access cloud and do data analytics as their first nature, And two is data democratization, data and service model, catalog to improve data literacy, and definitely data analytic as a service, And three, real-time data pipeline is is a must and inevitable for us to deliver the K-data roadmap. And four is end-to-end data quality, garbage in and garbage out, bad data in, and then definitely bad model, and it's fast, it will be garbage in and garbage out, and it will be faster, So you need to ensure end-to-end data quality as well. And five, because we are covering many countries, this year we launched Vietnam, last year we entered China, So we need to develop a regional data hub, and it will be a centralized location for all K-Bank customer data across the region. And six, definitely the challenge of the data governance. It has to be integrated governance suite, so that the data utilization is properly governed, to ensure that we are fully comply with the local government regulation, and at the same time with the bank standard as well. So that will be the K-data roadmap for us to deliver beyond 2021. So data, everyone said data is a new oil. I say data is a new oil, it's already old. Data is a new solar, but you need a cloud as a Tesla, to deliver that kind of speed, scale, and security, especially for K-Bank. So data has a better idea, use it well with cloud. Thank you very much.
ขอบคุณค่ะขอบคุณมากๆนะคะคุณกระทิงเรืองโรจน์พูนผล
Thank you very much. คุณเรืองโรจน์พูนผล the Group Chairman of Kasikorn Business Technology Group, presenting us with interesting information on the use of technology to develop the finance sector. Cloud technology has a very important role in many industries, not just for automation or robotics, but another industry where we see clear change is in the entertainment industry, which needs to transform itself to beyond the digital platform with digital content and cloud technology. What effect does it have on the entertainment industry? I call upon Kun Jakrapan Leela Masawat, Managing Director for BBTV New Media Company Limited. Kun Jakrapan, please. Good afternoon, everybody. I would like to introduce my company first. BBTV New Media is a subsidiary of Channel 7. We are responsible for the digital content, digital technology, and the development of all the online aspects, the website, the applications that we are involved in. Now, apart from the applications, we are also responsible for online advertising, which nowadays more people are advertising online. And so BBTV New Media is responsible for online advertising for Channel 7. The work that we have, like Channel 7 HD, has been available for almost 10 years now, since 2010, and we have 18.8 million downloads. We are available on all platforms, Huawei, Gallery Store, iOS, Android as well. For Bugaboo TV, this is another platform that we have for Channel 7. This is for viewing back episodes. The difference between Channel 7 HD and Bugaboo is Channel 7 is used for presenting content that is live broadcast on TV, so you can view live broadcast on that application. As for Bugaboo TV, this is for viewing past episodes and also exclusive content that you can access here. We have our own original content, which will continue to come out for one quarter. And another thing is the new service just launched about 3 years ago. This one is something that relates very much to the use of cloud technology, which I will go into detail next. Bugaboo Inter is a service which is a paid subscription. So you subscribe monthly and you get to view free of advertisement, and this is available to viewers globally. Another part that we are involved in for BBTV New Media is all the social platforms. We have accounts on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, a total of about 30 accounts with almost 40 million followers, and we use this to promote Channel 7 content, including exclusive content and live content. Now, the part that I would like to share with you today is our journey moving from on-premises to on-cloud. Why did we make that decision when we were in a system having our own data center? Why did we migrate to cloud? As you know, the company was set up 14 years ago, and starting from day one, our most important technology was streaming, delivering content to viewers who at that time was watching on the website. Now, in the year 2010, 2011, we started to have smartphones and smart media. So the people viewing live programs increased at double digits every year. So we thought that there was a need to have more scalability, reliability. These are important things. I will go into detail a little bit more for online streaming. We set our goals for three things. The first thing was to deliver the best viewing experience to our viewers. The Channel 7 viewers must be able to watch our program uninterrupted. Secondly, we wanted to minimize lag time. The waiting time must be reduced to a minimum. And the third part is to be available on every platform. Now, we compare from 2007 when we started doing streaming. We invested in our streaming server. We had more than 30 servers, and the bandwidth that was available was more than 200 gigabits per second. I believe that was the highest for broadcasters in Thailand, able to accommodate 300,000 viewers at the same time concurrently. Now in 2018, 2019, we realized that 200 gigabits was not important, or 300,000 concurrent viewers was not enough yet, because our viewership was growing. So we started looking for technology that would help us, and we found that the cloud technology had unlimited capacity. With a high number of viewers, that is something that we can accommodate, but at certain times with lower viewer numbers, we are able to save costs for that. So we didn't have to buy a lot of servers and try to accommodate 500,000 viewers at the same time. And these are the figures that are real. Usually for live broadcast of sports tournaments like football, whenever the Thai team had a tournament, there would be a live viewing, and there were 300,000 viewers at the same time during the Thailand and Saudi Arabia match. Now, when you have 300,000 plus viewers, there would be a lag time for some viewers, and so we had to make a decision to move to cloud. When we migrated to cloud, we were able to accommodate 800,000 to 1 million concurrent viewers. So if you had more than 1 million viewers, the cloud would be able to accommodate that. Now, the part that helped to improve our delivery of content for online viewers Originally, when we were using our on-premise system, there would be a 1 to 3 second lag time waiting for the loading before the streaming or the live broadcast. But when we switched to cloud, the loading time was less than 1 second, and the performance was improved in that the viewers were with us for a longer period of time. In the past, they would be watching us for about 5 minutes, sorry. But with the switch to cloud, they would be with us for 10 minutes on average. Now, this is for Bugaboo Inter that I told you at the beginning. This is a new business for Channel 7. We created Bugaboo Inter to present Channel 7 content globally. Right now, this subscription service, the Thai people in other countries can access this legally, because in the past there might have been issues about piracy, but because of our cloud services, we are able to deliver this content to people worldwide. At the beginning, before we used cloud, we conducted a study. If we wanted to penetrate the world market and bring Channel 7 content to the world, how much investment it would cost. It would cost a very huge amount of investment, but with cloud technology, this helped to reduce the investment by 100 times, and we're able to test markets to see whether it worked or not. And Bugaboo Inter grew twice every year. So the growth rate was good for us. Now we would like to add new sections, and using cloud would help save us time in developing new platforms for the FinFin channel, our latest platform. This helped to reduce the launch time for the application by 40%. We didn't need to wait for the procurement of the server and wait for it to be delivered or anything like that. We were able to launch it 40% faster when compared to conventional methods. For our evaluation, we consider about 6 topics. It would benefit us by moving to cloud, first in speed and agility. We are able to have new applications faster, scalability. We are able to expand our servers when needed, or sometimes when we don't have as many viewers, we do need to use that much resource. But with live broadcast, if we have more viewers, the system would be able to accommodate that. Easy to use. BBTV New Media team are usually developers, and being on cloud, it helped them to learn faster than having to set up servers and doing the maintenance. So most of the team like the cloud. They did not want to revert to the original methods. It's very user-friendly, and there are modules that are ready for use without having to buy new licenses or anything. It's on a pay-for-use basis. And capital expense, also, sometimes we are not sure whether our business would make it. So using cloud to test the market is good for us and reduce costs to maintaining data centers. There's a certain degree of security on the cloud already, which will help us to set up our server before we actually begin using it. And here I would like to introduce another service. Once we started our migration to cloud, our developer team wanted to learn more, and then got a certificate from the Huawei cloud, and we came out with new services. For example, facilitating cloud migration and development service ops, or web and mobile development, and robot automation as well. So If you are interested, you can visit our booth next doors. Thank you very much.
คุณจักรพันธ์ลีละมากสวัสดิ์
Thank you, Mr. Chakapan Leelamasawat, Managing Director of BBTV New Media Company Limited, for sharing his insights in the entertainment industry. As I have mentioned before, we still have healthcare technology to go on in terms of how to deploy 5G to develop the industry, including the adoption and deployment of AI. Now the three things are going to drive a smart hospital in Thailand. Now we are going to talk about the 5G powered smart hospital enabled with cloud and AI. I would like to invite Professor Piyamit Sitra, the Dean of Faculty of Medicine, Ramathipadi Hospital, Mahidol University, on stage for his speech. Thank you. Actually, the topic I was assigned with will have to do with the adoption of 5G technology in healthcare and medical areas and industries, but I would like to adapt a bit because I think the importance of technology in our country stays with the good foundation. Previously, we always focus on technologies, but the foundation remains undeveloped. As you can see on the slides, the inverted pyramid on the screen, you can see that the foundation we have is very shaky, unstable. The importance here I would like to pay attention to is that as everyone in the industry are all aware of the problem with the shaky foundation, is that you have to take a look first at the 6 system building blocks required by the WHO. You can see that information and data is very important. It's among the 6 building blocks assigned by the WHO for healthcare providers to complete the goals, the overall goals and good outcomes. When we talk about digital health, we always rush to mention AI, blockchain, cloud, and big data, which throughout this whole session you all are already fully aware of these technologies. So I would like to invite you to take a look at the foundation as I have mentioned before. So you can see that there are 4 points regarding the shaky foundations. Are that the first thing is the architecture to be the foundation of the governance body, as well as being the standard that could cause a seamless exchange. Because if this exchange these exchanges are not seamless, this could be a big problem throughout the system. So these 4 foundations are very important. So it's actually the foundation here that I pay attention to. It has to be bigger than the top. It shouldn't be inverted pyramid like this. It should be the other way around, because if we only develop at the top the N-way applications and implementation, it wouldn't work. It wouldn't sustain. We have to have strong foundation first. And also we have many developments during COVID-19 crisis. There are leaping success and developments in the industry. You can see a lot of labs in the hospitals that could connect directly to the hospitals. We call it co-lab. As you all know, hospitals, whatever institutions it belongs to, they could all are connected via co-links, so that every hospital knows what is going on in terms of healthcare data, leading to electric healthcare records. So you see that COVID-19 is the crisis that actually creates opportunities in Thailand and creates connectivity of this kind of data. During the past 2 weeks, there has been a digital health workshop under the Ending Pandemic Through Innovation initiative, with the focus of healthcare data exchange. It's a very intense 2-day meeting under that topic. So the meeting has aimed to close this kind of gap, to fill this kind of gap, to create a stable standard of data exchange among hospitals, to make it perfect and complete. Our hope stays with the exchange of healthcare information among hospitals. We call it inter-hospital data exchange. But of course, intra-hospital is also important, because the data circulation within hospital is still an issue, as well as the data that should be accessed by the patients also, and by the public also. We still have to focus on these areas. So these are all the areas that still lack and wait for development to make it really happening. You can see there are a few funds. For example, the civil services, the social agencies, social insurance agency. We have to gather these agencies. We have to unify it as one, so that it could work more efficiently. If we take a look at the country's financial system, now we have what we call prompt pay in financial platform. We have to aim to make prompt care happen in the same way as prompt pay. So to do that, we have to base the information based on the information on our ID card. So to let people access your own information, it depends on the data owner, just like we did in prompt pay. For the necessary standards for health information exchange, to be able to conquer all, right from functional to syntactic purposes, is important. For example, the coding that we use in diagnosis, we are always based on the ICD-9, but this might not cater to the syntactic of the diagnosis. So we might have to move a little bit higher. And the meeting 2 weeks ago that I have mentioned has already discussed about this. So we have to have a new center. But the migration of data has to take time, at least 2 years. It will also require subscriptions to be able to realize the issue. As for the syntactic level, which connects our data together. We have identified HL7 power that are widely used, but we have to have workshops that train people to be familiar with this kind of system to be able to push, to drive successful information exchange among hospitals. So in summary, we have to create health data repository. First, we have to gather our information. We have to unify relevant agencies as well as civil service center, so that people can tap into this to analysis their life matters, while the main custodian remains the same. Second, revolves around standards. For example, we have to standardize the medicine codes as well as the lab codes. We have now reached an agreement that all relevant agencies will use the same code standards, as well as adopt the same standard of our patients. So this is the standard that we should use as the central standard. The last one is the governance body that we have to make it happen. So both in short terms and long terms, they both take time. But first we have to create interlinked governance body, and then we could unify the three information from the three relevant agencies, so that this can happen in a short run. For the long run, it will take 2 years to create this kind of interconnection. Another thing is a key to unlock the possibility of data sharing is digital governance. So data governance body is really important here. During our meeting, there are 5 ministers from 5 ministries discussing this kind of issue, led by His Excellency Anutin, the Ministry of Health, and Ministry of Labor, and also ministers from the Ministry of Labor. And we all announce the discussions and agreements. So we hope to drive our attempts to success. So I would like to wrap up again our aim and goals to revolutionize the healthcare, the National Health IT Master Plan. First is that health goals have to lead technology. We have to look first at the outcomes. Don't focus on the technology too much. Next thing is that there has to be a coverage for the whole health system. It has to be inclusive for all sectors and parties. And also, we have to integrate health information exchange, particularly with personal health records. This is a very important issue that needs to be realized. And we have to balance between short-term changes and also long-term changes. So for the short-term changes, we have to be able to unify 3 relevant agencies, because we all share the same goal and same purpose of creating welfare for the people. So information is the key that has been assigned by WHO. So this is all. Thank you.
Thank you very much for Professor Dr. Piyamit from Ramathibodi Hospital, Mahidol University, who's been telling us about the master plan for health tech in the future. Next year, 2022, we will see the role of technology that helps drive health tech more. We will see many more new things, and this year, 2021, is the year of use case. It's the year of technical POC, and we will see, after talking about the technique and the experiments in 2021, next year what will come out in health tech that can be built upon what we achieved this year. For today's seminar, we have one more topic that is the conclusion that will wrap up the content for the viewers here at the Bangkok Convention Center and online. Understand the role and the role of technology, innovation, and the innovation equipment and tools that will help to drive the economy and society, especially in the post-pandemic time after COVID-19, and the role of technology that we have been discussing the entire day today. What will these roles be, and how will it drive industry? What part of industry will it drive? We will hear from speakers from other countries who will be discussing these things with us, and we have a moderator who will be asking questions and discussing with our speakers from abroad during the next half hour. And on this occasion, I would like to call upon our speakers.
This afternoon session, we will be talking about the role of digital innovation driving post-pandemic. May I invite Mr. Ashit Narayan, Program Coordinator of International Telecommunication Union, Mr. Jeffrey Towson, Global Thought Leader, Mr. Michael McDonald, Chief Digital Officer and Executive Consultant of Huawei, Asia Pacific, and of course, Kun Si Chapravi Tichachawanwong as the moderator in this session. To discuss the topic, the role of digital innovation in driving post-pandemic economy and social inclusion. Please welcome Kun Si and all speakers on stage. ขอเสียงตบมือด้วยค่ะ ขอบคุณค่ะ
Hello and good evening to all distinguished guests and ladies and gentlemen. As our session is pretty limited to the time, we are the last session for today. So, greeting to all three of you. First, could you please tell us about yourself a little bit and also your background in the industry?
Thank you very much, See. It's a pleasure to be here. And first, we are on behalf of International Telecommunication Union. It's a UN agency specialized in ICT. We are grateful to Bangkok Post and Huawei to invite us here. I am Ashish Narayan. I work as Program Coordinator in the regional office. I am responsible for digital services in Asia Pacific. And I look after the Pacific Islands. I don't know if you visited those islands, but the likes of Fiji, Tonga, Vanuatu, and those beautiful places. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's move to Jeff.
My name is Jeffrey Towson. I'm a new resident of Bangkok after a decade on the ground with digital China companies, Hangzhou, Shenzhen, including Huawei, Alibaba and such. So I spend my time studying the tech leaders of Asia, China, and increasingly Southeast Asia.
I'm Michael McDonald. I'm the Chief Digital Officer for Huawei, and I cover pretty much every technology that we have in our portfolio, at least at a level enough to engage in a conversation like this, we hope.
So let me kick off the first conversation. Should be a little bit broad. What are the key digital innovation, or people talk about the digital skills that nowadays we need more and more. So what should turn after the pandemic?
Shall I start?
Yes?
Okay. So, after the pandemic, suddenly there was a surge in demand. We have always wondered if we are the supply side was better prepared than the demand side. And for example, if you're working in a remote area, even if you can provide this service, are the users using it? I mean, do they know that? So the pandemic was a very steep learning curve for everybody. We all had to get through Zooms and Teams and understand how to install them, how to use them constructively. So that itself requires a new kinds of skill. In ITU, we classify skills, digital skills, in 3 categories. The first is the basic digital skills that you need to do basic things like, open your internet or use your computer, mouse, and things like that. And the second is the intermediate skills, things like, designing and web designing, and then desktop printing, publishing, things like that. And then the advanced skills that we have been seeing this morning, AI, 5G, ML, coding, and so on. So what is very important now, post-pandemic, when things have moved online, is to fast-track this skill process. Maybe I'll stop here and maybe we can hear from other panelists and we can come back to that.
Sure. So we talk about digital skills would need what are necessary skills that people talk about to upskill, reskill, and the skills are existing only 3 months nowadays. So what are the necessary skills that we have to adjust or add some more, in your opinion?
Yeah, I spend a lot of time talking with companies around Southeast Asia, Thailand, China. And the problem with digital, software, data technologies, mostly, is what businesses are thinking about. The problem is there's so much of it, and they don't know what to prioritize. There's so many tools, and it's easy to spend your time not doing very much, doing much well. So the number one answer is, I always tell people, data comes first. Build out your digital core. Start to operate more in a data-driven manner and get as close to your customers as humanly possible when it comes to information. That's always sort of step number one.
How about you, Michael?
I guess I have to say what step number 2 is. Well, I think probably if I could highlight one thing, it's that there's a very different perspective depending upon what role you play in the digital economy. There are the people that are building the foundation to make it work, and we lack a lot of skill sets there. So for example, the people that are learning about 5G and 6G or learning about cloud or AI. Then there's the group of people that are building the applications on top of that foundation. So this is kind of what you think of as the startup community or the entrepreneurial type mindset. We need to be able to provide the tools to make building these next generation of applications very easy. And then finally, I think something that we often overlook is that we need to educate users. We all think we live in a world where all of our friends and family understand applications and use them, but the reality is there's still a good portion of the world, dare I say almost half of it, that still hasn't been exposed to the right application to incentivize them to adopt digital services. And so I think we need to come up with a different strategy to try to educate them and make them become part of the digital economy.
So adding up to this question, Mr. Michael, Huawei bringing us lots of solution, hardware and software. So what are the key strategies that we should learn from Huawei? Could you share some of the key factors?
Well, are you asking about the technology or the education behind the technology?
Basically the technology and,
okay.
and how can we just putting some of those strategy and apply to digital Thailand?
Sure. So, I spend about an hour and a half walking through our pavilion next door, and there's some very key foundations behind almost every solution set you see there. It's all based on the ability to have mobility. So that is whether it's 5G or 6G, there's like a mobile aspect or connectivity. There's also bandwidth. So that connectivity needs to be able to support enough bandwidth to do things like high definition CCTV or AR, VR type applications. We need to have cloud computing capabilities so that we can process that data in more interesting ways and also create a very simplistic tool set so that who's ever developing the application can almost treat it like a plug and play type model rather than reinventing the wheel every time. And then if we get to that level, there's some really good examples of using those use cases combined with AI to do something really interesting, really novel, and really impactful to our lives.
So as of you are the expert in China, Mr. Jeff, can you share some of the success factor that you see in China that can apply to some of the digital transformation industry?
Yeah, I mean, I'm talking about the businesses that sit on top of the infrastructure, because that's a different playbook. It really, in China, and I think this is what's going to happen in Thailand and is happening, it begins with the consumer. The consumer digitizes first, they all have their smartphones. That forces businesses, B2C, to respond, especially if they're in media, retail, merchants, increasingly banks. From there, that typically starts to drive infrastructure, like logistics has to respond to e-commerce. And then maybe the last piece of the puzzle, which we're seeing in China, now manufacturing is becoming digital, which feeds into logistics, which feeds into business, which feeds into consumer, and it's one data-driven loop now. And I think that's absolutely where Thailand is going. But we're probably in this first step of consumers to merchants and brands. Logistics and manufacturing will probably come next, including agriculture.
So back to Mr. Ashish. How can different sectors work together to create a favorable environment for innovation in Asia Pacific?
Wow, that's a very loaded question. And you know, I must start with the previous presentation, and I was sitting there, and it was very interesting to see the concept of an exchange platform for health information. Now, when we look at the different sectors, so everybody is talking about digital transformation, and I think this decade is of digital transformation where we'll see this in reality. The challenge that we have is digital is not new. We have got some legacy and people have invested in the digital era, and we have got verticals in which people have invested in. Now, how do we create the incentive for different sectors to work together? And you know, I wouldn't say government, I wouldn't say industry, but let's look at sector. And it has to be all incentive driven. But there is a clear case of synergy. So for example, now with the over-the-top OTT application, you use an OTT application, you use 10 OTT applications, same mobile phone, same telecom operator, same equipment. You can use it for health, for driving, for eating, for anything you want, right? Now let's push that logic a little bit up in the digital whole of government, we'll say, space. So now you can start reusing the data centers, but then push it a little bit up. You can start using the software components, like whether you go to health, education, or agriculture, in all these sectors, you need registries. So, you know, you can use the same registry and customize it a little bit. And this is a trend which we are seeing to build in synergies, not only in the hardware space, but also that will bring synergies in the skills space. It will bring natural incentive for partners and their partners to use the same infrastructure. Thank you.
So let's come to the question, what does the industry need to do to make it more productive to everybody? Talking about like consumer, talking about the enterprise that can apply to the industry too. Like, get back to Mr.
Sorry,
Michael.
I was not hearing you very well. Could you say again?
So what does the industry need to do to make it more productive to the industry for everybody to apply those technology?
Well, I think something that is a very real problem is the fact that we're trying to make an industry that should be plug and play, because we all understand tapping into this digital economy benefits everybody, so let's make it as simple as possible. But unfortunately, we're trying to build models where the fundamental Legos are still changing design. And so we need to at least have a baseline beneath all of this around standards, around policy, around security, around spectrum, so that at least we can have some agreement so that what we build on top of it becomes sort of normalized for everybody else to take it to the next level. And I think we have some issues around that are, you know, maybe they're national interests, maybe they're something else. And that's really what we find ourselves spending a lot of time focusing on today. It's no longer about the infrastructure. Those components exist. It's now, what does that infrastructure enable? When data leaves one country and goes to another, or when the 5G signal has to be on a different spectrum band in another area, what does that mean for the overall solution? So I think we need to focus on standardizing around that.
Thank you. So, do you have anything to add up, Mr. Jeffrey? How can we make it like more productive to the industry? What should we act onto like the role when we say like digital transformation?
Yeah, I'm having a hard time hearing. Did you hear
So, what does the industry need to do?
Can you repeat it to me? We're getting an echo. Can you repeat it?
Right, sorry,
Okay.
It's been a little bit echo.
There's an echo. Sorry,
The
there's a
stage
little
is
bit of
like
an echo.
singing in a concert.
Okay, I got it. Yeah, how to make industry more productive. There's sort of the easy first steps, and then there's the long, hard grind, where there's no simple solution, where, let's say, easy first steps, Thailand. A lot of merchants and brands have a relatively short path from where they are to selling to consumers online in Thailand, because they're already there. Other extreme would be agriculture and a lot of manufacturing, where it is going to be many, many years of digitizing factories and putting in the tools and training managers. And that's fine, but there's no quick win to that. But the payoffs are huge. So you want to do both, and I think we can see that in Thailand. We can see both paths moving. The consumer side tends to be faster. In China, it's the same way. The B2B side is much, much slower.
So back to Mr. Ashish, what are the difficulties that we can just face in a post-pandemic era?
Yes.
And how can we cope with that?
Yes, I mean, that's a very good question because, first thing that pandemic has brought about is the uncertainty. I mean, today we are here, who knows? Suddenly tomorrow, you need to work from home. So what that means is the entire value chain has to be aligned. It should have the resilience to move from physical to digital at a very, very short time span. So we are now at a point where the digital network, we have been talking about resilience for very long. When we started, resilient means resilience to weather, resilience to security. Now you need a network that is so resilient that you can switch on and have the same experience from real to physical. And that requires a lot of preparation. Not only in terms of the solutions, I think we've got the likes of Huawei, likes of a lot of manufacturers and vendors who can create visionary solutions. But we need to think about the entire value chain. What about somebody sitting in an island who has access to a push-button phone still? How do we make that happen? Now, when we talk about, okay, we have moved, like we know that the school closures were one of the biggest impact of pandemic. Now, it's easy for a child who is having access to a laptop or broadband communication to go school online. But imagine the situation of a house with 4 children and 1 or 2 smartphones. Now what that does is that changes the opportunity for that student and the capability of that student. In school, when they go, they're all having the same environment. Now the environment changes. So how can we create, but the content is still designed for laptop. So how do we do that? So it requires a whole ecosystem and value chain analysis so that we can move quickly from physical to digital and digital to physical as we need. Thank you.
Do you want to add up for the difficulties?
Sorry?
Go ahead. Say it again.
You want to add anything to that?
We use a term, this came out of Alibaba a couple years ago, Jack Ma. He came up with new retail, new manufacturing, new finance, I forget what the other one was, new technology, which is not really the most inventive term ever. I mean, just putting new is kind of a little boring. But the more appropriate term, I think, is what they call OMO, online merge offline, where we're just starting to mix the digital and the physical worlds together, and from the user experience, it's becoming so seamless, you can't really tell it apart anymore. You're in the shopping center, you're in the supermarket, it's data coming in, it's your phone, it's your AI assistant, you're walking. It's just becoming one thing. And I think we see that in retail. We're going to see it in healthcare in a major way. So I like that term, OMO, online merge offline. I think that's where we're going. It's pretty exciting. So.
As we have shortage of time for the last panel discussion, so I would like you all to leave some short message to the people who try to adapting for the post-pandemic era, like adapting to the innovative world, starting with Mr. Michael.
I'll do my best to do my noise canceling on that question. Sorry, I can't hear very clearly.
What was the question?
What's the message do you have?
The message left.
In a post-COVID world.
Yeah, post message to adopt it.
Okay. Obviously COVID has impacted everybody very seriously, but if you look at it from a technology perspective, it has at least ignited some elements that I think will be here to stay. One thing that I've definitely seen in Thailand is how far digital payment has gone, how far e-commerce has gone, how far food services have gone. A lot of these will change maybe when COVID is now in our past. But I think probably to go back to what you said that I think is incredibly powerful, we're kind of at this point where the world has been online for a while and we have digital versions, but we haven't been able to stitch the offline and the online world together very effectively. And so that's why we talk about these digital twins. So if there's a real building, if I'm an operations manager, if I can create a complete virtual representation of the building, I can manage it like the same real building. Another example is if I buy food online, for example, right? If I ordered online, that restaurant knows exactly what I purchased. If the next day I physically go into the restaurant, they have no way of knowing what I purchased. They can't stitch what I ordered the second day with what I ordered the first day in any kind of a consumer-centric way. So I think really what we're trying to do right now, coming out of this COVID issue, is trying to figure out how do we go back to on-site? How do we go back to stitching things together and getting more use out of the combination of the online and the offline? I think that that's a very important element to consider.
Thank you very much. Let's move to Jeff.
Yeah, one of my favorite stories. The big e-commerce players of China are Alibaba, JD, and Pinduoduo. Alibaba's here, they own Lazada. JD has a partnership with Central Group here in Thailand. And then Pinduoduo is not here. JD became an e-commerce player during the SARS epidemic of 2002, 2003 because of the pandemic. They couldn't sell in their stores, so they said, let's try and sell online for the first time. And it was so successful, they closed all their stores a couple years later and became, a massive e-commerce company. I'm for sure we have already, the seeds of massive digital companies have already been planted in the last 12 months. We just don't know which they are yet. But I guarantee you we're going to see some major companies come out of the last year in response to this.
Since the time is up, I'll just say very short. So I think digital inclusion is very important. We have to see the journey of each and every person, type of person and people. Like we should specifically focus on persons with disabilities. What about the aging population? I mean, Thailand hasn't, we need to worry about the aging population. We are all aging. So what will happen to that? And then take them through the digital journey of each of the digital transformation piece. And then see, have we addressed that? I think this is a very important policy and commercial perspective that we need to take into account. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think that's a wrap for today's discussion. And thank you very much to Mr. Ashish Narayan, Program Coordinator from International Telecommunication Union, and Global Thought Leader, Mr. Jeffrey Towson, and of course, Mr. Michael McDonald, our CDO of Huawei Asia Pacific, for today's discussion. And thank you very much to you guys for the last question. And I think there are some more questions from the social network that we're running out of time for the last question. And thank you very much for today.
ขอบคุณมากๆนะคะขอเสียงปรบมือให้กับ moderator speaker ของเราในวันนี้
Thank you. Please give a loud applause to our speakers.
that this is a very precious content about the role of digital innovation. And so I would like to extend my appreciation for all of our speakers once again for sharing the great insight with us today. Thank you so much ค่ะ ขอบคุณมากๆเลยนะคะ ท่านผู้มีเกียรติ
Distinguished guests, for today's Huawei Powering Digital Thailand 2022 Huawei Client Connect Asia Pacific Innovation Day, we hope that all issues and themes and topics have brought upon the knowledge of the technology that could develop the country if used correctly and efficiently. And we also would like to thank you all sectors that attend the event and share the insights, and thank you all partners for their supports. Eventually, I, on behalf of the host, Bangkok Post and Huawei Technology Thailand,